Meeting to order. I wish to acknowledge the presence of two senators, Senator Risa Hontiveros and Senator Amy Marcos. Okay. We will be tackling today the proposed budget of the Department of Agrarian Reform for fiscal year 2022. Since its creation, DAR has led the implementation of the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program through its program of land tenure improvement, agrarian justice, and coordinated delivery of essential support services to our agrarian beneficiaries. For 4,943,000 hectares of land have been awarded to 2,908,000 ARBs since 1972. And DAR will continue to perform its mandate to deliver the remaining 513,287 hectares. During my briefing with DAR, I have been informed, however, that 67% of this, or 343,498 hectares, of the available land for distribution are tagged as problematic, the biggest percentage of which are from Region 6. With a budget support of 12,838 million, DAR hopes to contribute to the attainment of agrarian peace and stability, sustainable development, social justice, and industrialization in the rural areas. I will turn over to DAR for their presentation of the budget. And I would ask Attorney Lina to call the attendance of all the resource persons present. We will acknowledge first the resource person, and then we will ask DAR to present their budget. Thank you. Nasaan si ano? Nasaan si Lina? We call now on Attorney Lina to acknowledge the resource persons. Wala ba si Attorney Lina? Where is Attorney Lina? Attorney Lina?
Ma'am, I'm here, ma'am.
O you call na the acknowledge all the resource persons.
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam Chair. Good morning, Madam Chair. The following are present online. From the Department of Agrarian Reform. Attorney Lucius Junjun Malsi. Attorney Lucius Junjun Malsi. Attorney Elmer N. Distor. Attorney Elmer N. Distor. USEC for Operations. Mr. Bernie F. Cruz. Mr. Bernie F. Cruz. Attorney Rabinay D. Dilangalen, Other Secretary for Mindanao Affairs. Ms. Virginia Undersecretary for Policy. Attorney Jim G. Coleto, Assistant Secretary for Legal Affairs. Mr. Rene Colocar, Assistant Secretary for the Office of the Secretary. Ms. Aurita C. Ang, Attorney Annabel M. Wandasan. Attorney Roland Manalaysay. Mr. Nestor C. Bayoneto. Mr. Ronald M. Gareza. Mr. Baltasar T. Cruz. Mr. Emmanuel M. Falaria. Ms. Garland de Leila A. Cuarteros. Mr. Primo C. Lara. Mr. Samuel S. Solomero. Mr. Cupido Jerry D. Asuncion. Attorney Marvin Bernal. Attorney Sheila Enciso. Attorney Ramon Madronal Jr. Ms. Zoraida O. Makadingdang. Mr. Joseph H. Aurelia. Engineer Marion Y. Abella, Mr. Lumides Villarreal, Ms. Raquel R. Riveche, and Ms. Rowena M. Vasquez. That's all for now, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, who will present the budget of the DAR? Kasi sabi mo dito si Yusek Pagulayan pero wala siya eh. So, who will present the budget?
Chair, naka-mute kayo.
We were told, Madam Chair, that Yusik Pagulayan will lead the presentation of their budget, but he hasn't
But
been
he's not-
online yet, Madam Chair.
He's not here. So, who will present the budget? Lagay na una pa ako kaysa sa kanila na sila magpipresent ng budget. Oh, ayan na.
It's now
I
online.
think Yusek Pagulayan is all here already. Can you start presenting the budget?
Diyan na siya, diyan na siya.
You're using a different name.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Senator. Good morning po. We will be presenting our budget proposal for 2022 to the honorable members of the Committee on Finance, our distinguished senators who are now joining us online. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity being given to the Department of Agrarian Reform to once again present for the consideration of this august and esteemed body the recommended fiscal year 2022 budget for our department. The aspiration of our Honorable President Rodrigo Roa Duterte na pataasin ang antas ng pamumuhay ng ating mga magsasaka at palayain sila sa pagkaalipin sa lupa has been our motivation to pursue agrarian reform implementation. The pronouncement of our beloved President to implement a second phase of agrarian reform program will expand the mandate of the DAR and facilitate the coverage of the remaining agricultural lands not yet covered by the past agrarian reform programs. The issuance of Executive Order Number 75 of 2019 mandating the coverage of government-owned lands by the DAR for agrarian reform purposes is a clear manifestation
Kasi kay DOF Secretary, may sasabihin lang ako.
of our President.
Pray siya, tawagan niya.
It is for this reason that we respectfully request the honorable members of Congress to approve our 2022 proposed budget and help our department in pursuing the passage of a new agrarian reform law. With the help of Congress, we are optimistic that the recent directives of our President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to this humble representation will come into reality. Next slide, please. In the 10-point socio-economic agenda of President Duterte, the importance of the agrarian reform program can be traced.
Can I intervene?
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam Senator, please.
Usually, when they present the budget, they present the overhead budget, diba? The PS and overhead budget, and then afterwards
Yes, Madam
the program budget. I cannot find in your presentation this one.
Yes, Madam
I just
President.
want you
Madam
first show me your overhead budget, your PS and overhead budget, and see capital outlay, and then you present the next part, which is your program budget, diba? Usually the budget of a department is divided into two. One day is spent for them, their overhead, their PS, and their capital outlay, and the other one is the program, the amount they will spend for their program. So I want to see this because I have been looking at your budget presentation. I never see this. That should be the beginning of the presentation.
Yes, Madam Senator, we will be doing that. May I request our Undersecretary for Finance, Malsi, and our Assistant Secretary for Finance, Ang, to please provide us with the presentation of the main budget of the department for the operations, for personnel on one hand, and for the programs on the other hand. Asek Orit Ang.
Sir, good morning po. Good morning to our Madam Senator. We will be presenting to you the details of our proposed 2022 budget, broken down into our overhead cost and for programs and for projects. For a while, ma'am, lagay lang po namin yung slide.
Yun ang beginning.
At this juncture, Madam Senator, our Assistant Secretary Orit Ang will be doing the presentation on this aspect of our budget.
Okay, thank you po, Sir Yusek Louie. On the screen, we are presenting the breakdown of our proposed budget for 2022. We present the overhead cost. Out of the 12.3 billion, our overhead cost is 2.867 billion, or 23% of our budget, while for the direct cost, it is composed of our PS for operations and for MOOE also for operations, that is for programs and projects, including our capital outlay. The total amount is 9.455 billion, or 77%. Presenting it by PS, overhead cost, and programs and projects. The next slide. Ayan. So the allocation for programs and projects, which is composed of MOOE and capital outlays, totals to 5.9 billion, which is 48% of our proposed budget. While for the combination of the overhead cost, which is 2.8 billion, and the personal services, which is 3.5 billion, constitutes the remaining 52% of our proposed budget of 12.3 billion, Madam Senator.
So I did not see that in your report. You gave me a different report, so I cannot. I don't have a hard copy of that presentation. Can you please send me that presentation?
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam.
Kasi alam mo, Iha, pag nagpipresent ka ng budget mo, ang unang dadating iyan. Because that is the summary. So we would like to have a general idea where the 12 billion is going. Oh,
Yes,
so tatlo lang naman yan eh. Personnel, overhead, and then the projects and programs. So
Yes,
if you
madam.
add that, is that 12 billion?
Yes, Madam. 12 billion po, 12.3 billion, Madam. Actually, ma'am, we have provided this po as requested by Attorney Sara.
I didn't see that in my report.
Opo.
Very detalyado ang binibigay niyo report na hindi ko naman maintindihan kasi hindi ko alam kung ano pinanggalingan. 'Di ba?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So,
Sorry po.
but sa unang report, iyan yon, 12 billion. Tapos, i-detalye mo yan sa susunod mong report. But we have a general idea of where your money is going. And then you
Yes,
go on
ma'am.
details. Pero kung wala yung na yan, paano namin maintindihan to? It's not making any sense.
Yes,
Oh.
Madam.
So, because this is a budget, the finance people should make a very good presentation. Kasi pag walang summary, and then from the summary, we go on detail. Eh kung walang summary, magdidetalye agad tayo, hindi ko maintindihan. Hindi ko maintindihan.
Yes.
Mali
Yes,
yung
madam.
presentation nyo. Next time, you first present the general idea of the budget. How is it accounted for? Yan nga, nakalagay dyan, personal services, overhead, tapos projects and programs. And then,
Yes.
ako usually, hindi ko na masyadong pinakikialaman yung personnel and overhead. Ang tinitingnan ko lang yung projects and programs. So I want to see, i-detalye yung projects and programs. So will you please define to me what are these projects? How are they divided?
Yes,
Into
madam.
what category? Okay, so I can list because I can understand your report. Give me the breakdown of the projects. 6 billion.
Yes, madam. Opo.
How did you
The
divide?
breakdown, yes, madam. The breakdown of the 5.949 billion is as follows. Opo. For land tenure security program, we have 4.868 billion.
4.8. Nasaan yun?
4.868 billions, ma'am.
Oh.
Opo. So the bulk of, yes, ma'am. So it covers our activities under the land tenure security program, composed of the land acquisition and distribution of, sandali po. Nakikita. Apo. So the first milestone under the LTSP is land acquisition and distribution with 356 million. Non-land transfer activities with 11.888 million. For landowners compensation, which is being released to land bank, is 6.784 million. For post land distribution, is 65 million. And the biggest excuse me po, the biggest chunk of our LTSP budget is for the split project or the support to parcelization of lands or individual titling. Excuse me. This is a foreign assisted project funded
That's
by
the
the
World Bank project. It will
Yes,
it
ma'am.
will be given by World Bank, and that's 4.4
Yes,
billion.
4.4 billion, ma'am. This
Oh.
is the reason why our budget for 2012 has increased considerably, ma'am. For agrarian justice delivery, we have an allocation of 367.9 million, broken down into adjudication of agrarian reform cases with 131 million, resolution of agrarian law implementation cases with 78 million, provision of agrarian legal assistance with 158.58 million. For the agrarian beneficiaries development and sustainability program, we have a budget of 712.8 million. It will support the social infrastructure building with 118 million budget, enterprise development and economic support with 228.76 million. Climate resilient farm productivity support with 301 million. And we have also a foreign assisted project, convergence on value chain enhancement for rural growth and empowerment project with 64.89 million. That comprise, madam, our budget for projects and programs with a total amount of 5.949 billion. Thank you, madam.
Can you give me a what do you call this? A hard copy of that? Oo. Kasi this I can understand more. I cannot understand all this your report because this is the summary of your what you're going to do for the year. Can you give me a hard copy of that? Because that I can understand. Okay?
Yes, Madam
Yes,
Senator,
Madam.
we will be submitting the hard copy of this budget of the department and the breakdown, specifically on
Okay.
our programs. We will be giving you the big picture, Madam, please.
Okay. So go ahead. What else do you have to present?
Madam Senator, we will now be discussing the accomplishment in key programs. We will be going to slide number 3, please. Next slide, please. The accomplishment in key programs. Your Honors, the succeeding slides will show the accomplishments of our department for the period January to June of 2021, as well as the cumulative performance as of the end of June 2021 for our key or major programs. Land Tenure Security Program. Land distribution is the main mandate of the DAR. In the succeeding slides, may I present to you the land acquisition and distribution accomplishments of our department as of June 2021. From 1972 to June 2021, DAR was able to cover a total of 4.943 million hectares out of a total of 5.450 million hectares total scope for land acquisition and distribution under the Agrarian Reform Program. Next slide, please. The net accomplishment of our land acquisition and distribution, or LAD, is comprised of the following. 56% or 2.7 million hectares are private agricultural lands, or PAL. 44% or 2.1 million hectares are non-PAL. Of these land holdings, 1.855 million hectares, or 38%, are Land Bank of the Philippines compensable, and 2.986 million hectares are non-Land Bank of the Philippines compensable. During the term of President Duterte from July 2016 until June 2021, the DAR was able to acquire 141,430 hectares of lands issued with registered emancipation patents and certificates of land ownership award. Of these covered land holdings, 241,973 hectares were distributed to Agrarian Reform beneficiaries, and 121,053 of these ARBs were already installed. Due to the lockdown in large areas of the country starting in March 2020, because of the declaration of the state of public health emergency and enhanced community quarantine, the DAR was only able to accomplish a total of 18,789 hectares and 6,430 hectares in 2020 and in the first half of 2021, respectively. The historical trend, however, of DAR's LAD accomplishment picks up at the last 2 quarters of the year, wherein the LAD process reaches its completion for most of the targeted land holdings. Hence, we are confident that our 2021 LAD accomplishment will increase towards the end of the year. As regards the
So, how many have you distributed as of today? Ano
Madam
budget nyo for the year in terms of distribution, and how many have you distributed as of today?
Yes, Madam.
For this
Madam
year. Ano ba
Yes, Madam
target nyo
Senator.
for this year na i-distribute? Usually,
Yes,
di ba, 50,000 hectares a year?
Yes, Madam Senator. We will,
Oo.
may I
Ano ang na-distribute nyo as of today?
As of June 2021, we were only able to distribute 6,430 hectares during the pandemic. A total of 24,000 hectares, Madam Senator, for 2020 and 2021. For this year, we were only able to accomplish as of mid-year 6,430 hectares. However, Madam Senator, we are confident that we can reach the targets at the end of the year. To give us the details, Madam Senator, may I kindly
What is the
request-
target? What is the target for the year?
Yes,
Undersecretary Distor, Madam Senator, will address the query, please.
good morning,
Chair.
good morning, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, Risa
Yes,
Ontiveros.
Senator
Madam Chair.
Risa. Yes.
Salamat, Madam Chair. Before we move from Yusek Pangulaya to Yusek Distor, idagdagan ko lang po yung question ng Chair. Kasi ito po yung isa sa mga tanong ko, Madam Chair, precisely yung bilang ng DAR accomplishment sa loob nitong 5 taon. Kasi Madam Chair,
Okay.
kung yung period nila beginning 1972, tapos they stop at 2016, and then magpipick up ulit sa 2019, yung ganyang klase pong presentation tends to disguise the fact na unfortunately sa nakaraang mga dekada, ngayong last 5 years, ang lowest accomplishment ng land acquisition and distribution across administrations. So yung una ko pong tanong, Madam Chair, para mas ma-focus at mas ma-clarify talaga yung data, sa bilang ng DAR accomplishment sa loob ng 5 taon, mula sa balance ng 2016, maaari bang marinig at mag-submit ng report sa mga sumusunod? Una, Madam Chair, yung distribution of lands. So yun po yung public agricultural lands at saka public lands under EO 75 in lieu of problematic land holdings. Pangalawa, Madam Chair, reports redocumentation of collective CLOAs. So basically yung pinakita nila kanina split of support to parcelization of land titles o yung parcelization ng collective CLOAs na supported naman na ng World Bank funding. And last but not the least, Madam Chair, report dun sa turnover of land bank emancipation patents at CLOAs at distribution ng mga EPs at CLOAs na iyan. Ito kasi, Madam Chair, ay mga titulo na distributed na tapos reported as accomplishments of previous administrations. Pero nag-issue nga si Presidente ng directive to distribute to farmers to be used as collaterals kasi nga kung hindi pa nabayaran. So yung pangatlo na hiningi kong report, Madam Chair, on redocumentation of collective CLOAs at saka turnover of land bank EPs and CLOAs. Ano po yun? Hindi po yan redistribution of new lands na yun ang dapat talagang nire-report. Bilang importanteng piece of legislation, importante din na maitala sa kasaysayan yung totoong at tamang accomplishment ng administrasyon. So I really request these reports from the DAR, Madam Chair, and I'm looking forward sa report nilang iyon. Baka pwede na rin pong mapanggit ni Yusek Distor.
Okay. I move that we be given that report as described by Senator Risa Ontiveros. Pwede ba tayong
Salamat po,
bigyan ng
Madam
written
Chair.
report niyan? Oo.
Yes, Madam Chair, we will be sending the report to your office and to the office of Senator Ontiveros, Madam Chair, in compliance with her queries, Madam Chair. Her
Salamat
instructions.
po, Yusek. Salamat po, Madam Chair.
Most welcome, Madam. At this juncture, Madam Chair, if I may request Undersecretary Distor to address the first query and then comment on the points raised by Senator Ontiveros, Madam Chair.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair. As to the 2021 target of the department, we have around a target of 30,955.41. But as of the date or as of September 30, 2021, the department has already accomplished around 10,570.25 hectares. As per projected accomplishment of our department, with the consultation with the regional office, we would be able to achieve by the end of the December around 23,810.71 hectares. A portion of this 30,000 that we would not able to deliver, Madam Chair, is considering first and foremost that the Land Bank of the Philippines already informed the department that the available funds for the payment of the landowner compensation would not be able to be delivered due to the depleted funds. Nonetheless, the department already made several representations with the Department of Budget and Management to the Office of Yusik Louis Pangulayan and Asik Joey Sumate and Yusik Malsi, as well as Asik Orit, to make an appropriate request that the said agrarian funds for the payment of landowners compensation be replenished. Second, Madam Chair, uh, as to the low output as of as of this September month is as a result of again of due to the current lockdown of several offices of the other interagency, including the RODs, DNR, as well as in the other provinces po. So these frequent lockdowns of the other offices are one of the impending factors which prevent us to deliver on time what as we have promised to the department. As well as that the remaining land holdings, as of juncture, Madam Chair, is that a portion of these are all already been deemed identified as problematic. Nonetheless, we are trying our best that this problematic be transformed into a workable uh, land holdings. As to
But
the
there can I intercede there?
yes,
But there
Madam.
are 150,000 hectares na non-problematic, di ba? Sa
Yes,
sinabi nyo report last year na may 150,000 hectares na non-problematic. So yun, pwede nyo i-distribute. That problematic, hindi natin binilang yon, but you have enough to distribute in spite of those problematic accounts.
Yes, Madam Chair, as of date, we have around 169,780 or around 150,000 hectares, which are deemed are workable. And the departments are already being on the process of targeting this workable to be delivered in the subsequent years. In fact, for this year, Madam Chair, we have a target of around 30,955. And we are quite positive that we will be able to accomplish around 24,000 hectares.
Before sabi
Chair?
nyo, ang target nyo 50,000 hectares per year, di ba? Ba't bumababa?
At this 50,000, Madam Chair, is a combination of the under EO 75 and then this land acquisition for private agricultural lands, Madam Chair. So these are both combination of under EO 75, which was just recently been provided by under EO 75 last February 2019, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Yes. Senator Risa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Napansin ko rin po yung napansin ng Chair na bumababa yung target, kaya nga bumababa din yung performance. Ano po ba talaga, Madam Chair, ang process of determining land balances? At ano na, just para may baseline tayo in the last year of the administration, ano na po ba ang land balance ngayon? Para baka mas doon pwedeng ipeg ang mas ambitious na target. Kasi nga po, Madam Chair, for the record, pinakamababa ang accomplishment ng DAR sa huling 5 taon kumpara sa record ng department sa mga naunang mga administrasyon. Sa kabila ng may pronouncement na nga at pangako pa mismo si Presidente na tapusin na yung pamamahagi ng lupa At gaya ng sinabi ni Yusek Distor, naglabas nga si Presidente ng EO75 na isama na pati yung mga na itatabi pang government lands ng mga ahensya. So para lang malinaw sa atin, Madam Chair, ilan pa ba ang land balance na mayroon tayo sa ngayon?
With the permission of
Please answer.
yes, as of date, as of 2021, Madam Chair, we have a outstanding balance of 513 or 513,287 hectares, and minus therein is the 107,800 true from which within the province or within the jurisdiction of the BARM. So we have around 405,000 hectares, 485, of which would be the working area.
Alin yung sa BARM?
107,802 po, Madam Chair. 107.
Minus mo sa 530, ganun ba?
Yes, Madam Chair, because we already transferred these land holdings to the control and supervision of the BARM, Madam Chair.
So ang matitira is 530 minus 107 is
405,485. And this
530 minus 107 is 423.
Madam Chair, again, 513,287 is the total.
513.
Oh.
Minus 107, so 405. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this 405 can be divided into two areas. One is workable and then problematic. This workable is around 169, around, just a moment here.
Madam Chair.
169,788. And the remaining problematics around 343,499, Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam Chair. Kung yung sinasabi nilang land balance ay 530,000 hectares plus, at sa loob niya, 124,000 hectares plus ang private agricultural lands. Bakit naman ang target for this last year ay 30,000 lang? Ni hindi 10% ng mga private agricultural lands? Bakit hindi naman, at least as a target, mag-target ng mas ambisyoso? Actually nga, Madam Chair, wala namang masama i-target, ma-distribute lahat ng land eh. Diba? At least ambisyoso yung target.
But usually they can distribute 50,000. The biggest I've seen is 50,000 hectares per year.
50,000 sa max they've done, no?
Kaya sinasabi ko, why naging 30,000, di ba?
Opo, Madam Chair. Kaya nga po.
So, can you answer that question? Why 30,000 when usually it's around 50,000 per year? Kasi I've been handling this department for so long. Parang sa mind ko, yun ang sinabi nila that they can distribute 50,000 hectares per year. So, ngayon, 30,000 na lang. Bakit?
Yes, we have promised that we would be able to deliver 50,000, but this 50,000 would be a combination of the private agricultural land plus the GOL under EO75 here, Madam Chair. So more or less, we're still working around 50,000 po. These are both combinations po.
So nakakarinig po ba tayo ng commitment na i-raise yung target nila sa 50,000 hectares man lang for year 2022?
Madam Chair, we are quite confident that we will be able to deliver these targets of around 50,000. Again, Madam Chair, as to this our promise for as to the private agricultural lands, these are around 32,000 per year, because these are based on the reports and targets given by our respective regional office, and also based on our OP tool or the device that we're being used as to the land holdings in the said respective areas. Madam.
Madam Chair, permission to speak po. Yusek Pangulayan po.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Madam Chair, based on the answers given by Undersecretary Distor, there is a commitment to distribute 50,000 hectares, but we will be relying also on EO 75 of 2019 of President Duterte. If I may, Madam Chair, also lay down some policy limitations on the part of DAR, which will explain why the current administration has a lower accomplishment in terms of land acquisition and distribution vis-a-vis the previous administrations. Not that we are justifying it, but there are three policy limitations unique to the current administration. Number one, Madam Chair, as in the case of our comprehensive agrarian reform law, the manner of covering lands were set up in such a manner that when CARP started in 1988 and even under the Carper Law of 2009, the order of priority is such that we were focusing on alienable and disposable lands of the public domain and unused agricultural government-owned lands. These were the two priorities during the previous administration, starting during the implementation of CARP in 1988. Private agricultural lands only occupies priority number 3 in the order. And when it comes to private agricultural lands, there were a lot of challenges being posed by landowners challenging the validity of the coverage. And this have contributed to the difficulty of covering private agricultural lands. It was relatively easier to cover alienable disposable lands of the public domain and unused agricultural government-owned lands in the 1980s and in the 1990s. And even during the first part of the 21st century. The second limitation, Madam Chair, is that Congress imposed a deadline on the issuance of the Notice of Coverage, the first document that we use to cover private agricultural lands. As we all know, under RA 9700, Congress placed a stop on the issuance of the Notice of Coverage. This was in 2014. This tied the hands of DAR with regard to covering additional lands. Finally, Madam Chair, because our RA 6657 as amended allows for the issuance of collective CLOAs, in the 1990s, the previous administrations resorted to covering agricultural lands, government-owned lands, alienable disposable lands of the public domain, as well as private agricultural lands via collective CLOAs. There was a surge in the issuance of collective CLOAs. It was easier to issue collective CLOAs because you do not have to do the partitioning and and dividing the lots to ARBs. Instead, names of ARBs are just placed on the new title.
But the problem with may intercede, the problem with collective CLUA, hindi nagagamit ng
Opo.
farmer para maisanla nila para makakuha sila ng financing, di ba? Kasi collective CLUA yan. Kaya hindi ba kaya may split program kayo para to solve this problem? Hindi ba ito yung isosolve ng split, yung collective CLUAs?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Madam Senator. I was only discussing that in the context of explaining why previous administrations have higher accomplishment reports because their collective CLOAs were included in their accomplishments despite the fact that there was no actual distribution of individual lots to qualified ARBs. 100
But
names
today
of
you
ARBs.
don't distribute any more collective CLOAs. Is that true?
That is true, Madam Chair. We are
Kasi
no
nga
longer, that is the
pinai-split
practice.
na nga yung collective CLOA na yan kasi pag wala sa individual farmer, hindi nila yan magagamit kung gusto nilang kumuha ng financing sa mga bangko kasi collective CLOA. Kaya in-stop nyo na yan, wala nang ganyan.
Yes, Madam Senator, we have stopped this, but then yung sinasabi lang po namin, dati po, matataas ang accomplishment nila dahil noon ang kinocover nila ay yung madadali pong makover na public
But
lands.
hindi nyo tingnan ko ilan bang percentage ang collective CLOA doon sa accomplishment nilang mataas?
There was a
So
time,
that
Madam
you
Chair,
will na misled na yun ang reason bakit kayo mabagal. Kasi tingnan natin kung ilan yung collective CLOA doon kung that can justify na mas mababa kayo. Di ba?
Yes, Madam Chair, we are
And for
doing
your info also, para makita nyo kung talagang you can justify na mababa accomplishment nyo ngayon kasi wala ng collective CLOA, ba't hindi natin i-trace kung ilan yung collective CLOA na yun at i-minus natin para ma-compare natin na talagang hindi naman mababa yung accomplishment nyo. For your purpose also, so you will know, you can judge yourself. It's not for us, di ba?
Thank you, Madam Senator. We will be doing that. There was a time, Madam Senator, in the 90s and even in the early part of the 2000 when about more than 50% of all titles were collective clause then, but they were all chalked up as part of accomplishment. Notwithstanding
Kaya
the
nga, ilang percent ba yung collective CLOA na yon para i-minus natin doon sa accomplishment and to see if yung accomplishment nyo is the same na with the other years, hindi ba?
We'll be doing that, Madam Senator, and we will also be
And
including
maybe
that
you
in
can
our report.
make a report on us on
Yes,
that
Madam Senator.
on that study, di ba, Senator Risa? Will that
Yes, Madam
satisfy
Chair.
you? Oo.
Well, may follow-up po ako dyan, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Unfortunately po, hindi po satisfying yung tatlong dahilan na sinabi ni Yusek Pangulayan for their underperformance. In fact, yung tatlong binanggit nila could even serve as further inspiration at push sa DAR na i-taas yung performance na bago po yung sinabi nilang manner of covering lands. So that's the normal operation of the law na kung marami na silang lands at agricultural lands na distribute na, dito na talaga po ang department sa third priority na private agricultural lands. Kahit pa may challenges posed by the former landowners. Kasi nasa batas naman, ano yung proseso para i-resolve yung mga challenges na yon. Pangalawa po, yung deadline on the issuance of NOCs. Pero meron pong mga na-issuehan ng NOCs na hindi pa nga tinuloy yung proseso hanggang pag-award ng CLOA at pag-install ng farmer beneficiaries. Dapat kumplituhin na po iyon. And last but not the least, gaya ng sinabi ng Chair, yung collective CLOAs, ang laki-laki na ng item sa budget ng DAR for 2022, yung split na yon, ni hindi po kailangan natin i-appropriate from Congress dahil pupondohan ng World Bank. I think additionally, Madam Chair, yung mga ilang couple of issues na kailangan pang i-address ng DAR para totohanang i-distribute na yung remaining balances have to do with yung mga titulo na nasa RP titles na pero hindi pa nalilipat sa pangalan ng mga magsasaka. Ilan pa po ba iyon at kailan pa na-issue yung mga RP titles na ito? And last but not the least, Madam Chair, yung isa pang issue na may epekto sa underperformance ng DAR ay yung mga undistributed CLOA titles. So ito, Madam Chair, talagang nakapagtataka. Wala akong maisip na paliwanag. Kung hindi, sorry to say, hindi ginagawa ng DAR ang kanyang mandato. Usapin naman ng mga CLOA na hanggang ngayon ay nakaipit sa mga folders sa loob ng mga mesa ng DAR at hindi pa ibigay sa mga magsasaka. So those are two more issues I would like to clarify during this budget hearing, Madam Chair. Kasi nasa kamay na po ng DAR ang lahat ng mandato sa mga batas tungkol sa agrarian reform para ma-achieve yung mission ng kanilang departamento.
So what kind of report do you want them to submit to you and to us?
Ito po. Yes, Madam Chair. Tungkol po dun sa RP titles, yung report sana po ay sagutin yung tanong na tama po ba dapat itong mga asyenda na nailipat na sa pangalan ng Pilipinas at meron na dapat, unang-una dapat meron na silang stock cultivation notice sa former landowner. Tama po ba, Yusek Pangulayan?
Yes, Madam Senator.
Yes, sir, Yusek. Dapat po, di po ba? And
Tama
then,
po.
tama po ba? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair. Tama rin po ba na dapat yung mga nailipat na sa RP title ay meron ng magawa na ng DAR to take possession at maglagay na ng billboards na taken into possession na ito ng DAR. Tama po ba?
Tama po, Madam Senator.
Salamat, Yusek. Salamat, Madam Chair. And last but not the least, hindi ba dapat na itong mga lupa na meron ng RP title ay dapat i-assist yung mga magsasaka para masimulan na nilang gamitin yung mga lupang iyon. Tama po ba, Yusek?
Tama po, Madam Senator. Meron pong isinasagawa ang kagawaran o to address itong tatlong bagay na ito. Ilalagay po namin sa report. But we can cite specific instances when we try to address all these things. Yung mga RP title po, magawing CLOA na. Inaasikaso na po yan. Marami po kaming naasikaso ngayon, nakuha po na kaso na na-resolve after more than 20 years sa RTC at Court of Appeals. At ngayon, nagkaroon na po sila ng individual CLOAs po.
Salamat, Yusek.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Madam
And
Chair.
salamat, Madam Chair. I mean, I'm glad to hear na mayroong ganung mga kaso. Of course, sana hindi na kailangan dumaan pa sa mga korte kasi meron na tayong agrarian justice delivery. But nonetheless, minsan or madalas nangyayari pa rin yun. Pero in addition po sa mga kaso na successfully na-resolve na ng DAR, Madam Chair, my office will submit a list of 43 land holdings with issued RP titles. Ayon po sa mga kausap kong magsasaka doon sa 43 land holdings, hanggang ngayon ay dating may-ari pa rin ang malayang nakagagamit ng lupa. Yung iba ay napayagang gumamit pero sa maliliit na portion lang. Bakit napakabagal ng DAR? Yung maaari naman ito publisin na nagawa na nga ng departamento sa ibang pagkakataon, yung mga sinabi ni Yusek Pangulayan, at inilatag nyo pa ang mga steps sa A01 series of 2020. So pwede talaga Madam
Maybe
Chair.
you can give Yusek Pagulayan the list of those 43 land holdings para i-research nila, para i-report sa'yo bakit hindi na-turn over ang paggamit sa mga farmer. So that
Will do, Madam Chair.
bigay mo sa kanya yung listahan tapos gawan nyo ng report, di ba? Bakit may
Salamat,
problema
Madam
yung
Chair.
43 land holdings na yon, di ba?
Will do, Madam Chair. And pagkasama ko ng pag-submit ko ng listahan iyon ng 43 land holdings kay Yusek Pangulayan, i-request ko rin po sila with this requesting the support of the Chair na mag-submit sila ng plan of action para sa issuance ng CLOAS para sa 43 land holdings with RP titles. Yung ilan po dito halos 5 taon na po na naghihintay. So salamat para doon, Madam Chair. And then lastly po, yung report sana o aksyon na hinihingi ko tungkol doon sa huling issue ng undistributed CLOA titles. So habang may malaki na ang proyekto ng parcelization, yung split nga po, inaayos yung mga titulo, ito naman ay mga titulo na, di ba, yung collective CLOAs, ba't hindi pa ibigay? At yung mga magsasaka malamang ay hindi pa rin na-install sa mga lupang iyan. So, gayon din, Madam Chair, lastly, I will submit a list of names with issued CLOAs na rin and request the good OIC SEC to submit also a plan of action or commitment to distribute all of these titles na DAR has no business holding on to, samantalang nasa pangalan na siya ng mga farmer beneficiaries. Isang araw lang naman po ang kailangan, iba Yusek, para maipamigay ang mga titulo. So inaasahan rin na isama sa target ng DAR na ma-install ang mga magsasaka. And umaasa po ako, Madam Chair, makatanggap ang komite natin through the Chair, opisina ko ng update mula sa DAR bago yung plenary deliberations. Maraming salamat po, Yusek. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Risa. And then we expect Yusek Pagulayan na makikoordinate ka sa office ni Senator Risa para ma-submit natin yung hinihingi niya bago tayo mag-plenary. Diba?
Yes, Madam Chair, we will submit the reports as needed by Senator Ortiveros, and we will also furnish your office a copy. We'll comply, Madam Senator.
Thank you very
Salamat,
much.
Yusek. Maraming salamat, Chair.
No more questions, Senator Risa?
More for this budget hearing, Madam Chair. Salamat.
Okay. So I will ask Senator Amy kung may mga questions siya because she's here.
Yes, good morning po. At maraming salamat and to our DAR family. We note that the big increase in the budget of DAR is attributed to the increase in funding for the split program, which grew from 515 million 2021 naging 4.552 billion 2022. Most of the 2.97 billion from loan proceeds. May we know, apropos also of the questions of Senator Risa, what's the status of the split project? What is the implementation schedule? Kasi nagbago na rin daw to dahil sa COVID.
Yes, Madam Chair, if we may respond to the query of the good Senator Amy Marcos.
Yes, Yusek, please.
Thank you, ma'am. May we request Undersecretary Bernie Cruz, the project head vice chairman of the split project, to give us an update to address the query of Senator Marcos. Yusek Bernie Cruz.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning.
I just want to manifest that after your report, can you submit a written report of that para may copy kami, di ba?
Tama,
You explained
opo.
to us today, but give us a written report para pag may nagtanong na ibang senator, we can just give the written report. Okay? Thank you.
Yes,
Ay,
Madam Chairman.
salamat.
Okay, Madam Chair, ang pwede lang po namin ma-report ngayon sa split is nag-commence po ang split October 9 last year. So last October 9, yung first year namin tapos na. We are on the second year. Ang target po namin for the first year,
What is the first year? Please explain to us.
yeah, so po ang target namin for the first year, my priority regions is Region 1, 8, and 9. Pero marami po doon sa mga regions na yon ang may naging problematic, parang mahirapan po mag-organize ng mga...
Yung Region 8, bakit inuna ninyo? Napakadaming sakit ng ulo doon. Yung 1 and 9, madali lang yan. Iraratsada yan. Pero yung 8, baka mahirap yan. Nasa deeply problematic. Bakit ninyo iuna nun? Bakit ninyo inuna yun?
Ma'am, yung sa Region 8 po kasi, kaya namin nilagay sa priority region para makita na namin kaagad yung mga problematic. Kasi sa buong Pilipinas po, Region 8 ang may pinakamalaking collective CLOA na na-issue ang DAR. Opo. So, isinali po namin...
Region 8 at Region 5 ang talagang magulo yung CLOA pa rin?
Actually, tatlo po. Region 5, Region 8, at saka Region 6, ma'am.
Yes, that's right. Oo. 5, 6, and 8 ang pinakasakit ng ulo dyan. Bakit hindi ninyo inuna muna yung madadali para may accomplishment tayo? Yun ang rinereklamo ng iba. Para mabigyan na ng titulo yung mga tao. Tapos yung problemahin natin, unti-untiin na lang natin si 5, 6, and 8 kasi alam naman natin yung mga sakit ng ulo dyan, namatay na yung mga may-ari. Mga apo-apo na lang ang umaasa sa inyo.
Ma'am, yun nga po ang as the USEC, meron lang po kasi kaming yung National Project Director namin, tapos yung in constant consultation with World Bank at si ASIC Joey sa operation. Medyo hindi po talaga kami nagkaroon ng magandang ugnayan regarding that, pero nag-insist po ako in the middle of the year, no, na dahil may mga problema at kinausap ko din po yung World Bank kasi yun po yung nakalagay na priority regions, yung tatlo. Ngayon, kinausap ko yung World Bank na isinama na namin the entire Philippines po. Lahat ng regions po ngayon gumagalaw na for the information po, Madam.
That's the second tier.
Hindi po.
Yun yung second. Ano yung second tier?
Mid of the first year.
Katulad ng sabi ni Chair, 189. So that means second year, lahat na? Ganun ba yun?
Ma'am, actually ngayon, yung within the first year, towards the third quarter, pinagalaw ko na po lahat ng regions. Isinali na po namin lahat ng regions. Hindi na nag-concentrate sa 189. Kasi ang target namin is 60,000 hectares. Medyo may mga problema po kaming na-encounter because of the COVID, no? So, hindi namin yon nung ina-assess po namin, nung half of the year, hindi namin talaga mati-deliver yung target. So,
Ano ba
nag-insist
yung
po ako.
target na 60,000 hectares a year or that's the total target? Explain mo sa amin.
For the first year po, ang total target namin is 60,000 hectares.
O,
Ang alam ko
60,000.
First year po.
60,000 yung year 1.
Yung year 1 po, opo, 60,000 hectares.
Oh. Yung
Opo.
second year,
Ang second year po, at saka yung 600,000 ng second year, tapos yung natitira on the third. On the fourth year po is yung closing na ng mga books and yung kasi bali 4 years po ang
ilan ba ang
split.
total? Ilan ba ang total talaga? Para alam natin.
1.3 million 1.3 million hectares po.
So
More or
yung
less.
third year is 660 minus 1.3, ilan yun? 600 din. 640,000.
Almost 700. Almost 700 po.
640.
Opo.
O,
Yes,
kung
ma'am.
sinasabi mong 1.3, di 640 yung last year.
40 yung
Opo.
year 3.
Year 3. Oh.
Parang hati na po yung natira. 60,000 on the first year, tapos parang hati na yung natira second and third year. Opo.
Kaya nga, pero ngayon, siguro tulungan ninyo kami kasi ang laki-laki ng budget ninyo ngayon.
Ma'am, actually,
multiply siya ng todo. So, ma-expect ba natin to given that COVID, continued granular lockdowns, and so on and so forth, ma-disburse kayo itong 4.552 billion na hinihingi ninyo sa 2022? Baka naman kailangan kausapin na yung World Bank kasi hindi rin kayo nagkakasundo sa targeting. Natatawa nga kami sa first year ninyo kung bakit yung pinakasakit ng ulo, yung pang-uunahin.
Madam Chair.
Alam ko talagang walang katapusan yan.
Madam Chair. Opo, if I may. Ang problema po actually namin, kaya nga po nag-ano kami, dun sa operational side, kahit may mga lockdown, ang nagiging problema po namin is yung budget po kasi hindi na release nga yung kasi may mga dapat po kaming mga equipments na dapat i-purchase, may mga personnel na dapat i-hire, may mga vehicles na dapat i-purchase. Pero doon sa first year, to enhance po yung aming operational side. Ang problema po, hindi po din na-support yung budgetary requirement. So yung
Are you saying you were not released the 515.6 million na 2021? Hindi na release yun?
Madam Chair, na-release po yung sa GOP na yon na bandang February, March na po na-release.
Okay.
Kaya talagang almost half of the hindi kami makagalaw. Hindi kami kasi wala pong saro. Kailangan pang ipadaan ng DBM sa Office of the President para i-approve kasi congressional insertion daw po. Hindi nila kami actually binigyan ng budget yung for the 2020.
Ay, ganon. Okay.
Opo. So, na-release lang po siya ng February na or March this year.
So, yung October 9 na launching ninyo, anong ginawa ninyo kung wala namang pala kayong pera?
Ma'am, ang ginawa namin, yung office ko po ng foreign assisted project, yung budget ko supposedly, yun yung ginamit namin para makapag-organize ng mga personnel, yung Central Project Management Office, yung mga ganun po. Parang inayos muna namin yung mga organizational structures para pagka-release ng pera, meron na po kaming Central Project Management Office para may support namin pag may pera na yung mga regional and provincial offices po.
Thank
Ganun
you,
po ang
Yusek. Thank you, Yusek. Siguro you can give us a more detail in a written report katulad ng sinabi ng aming chairwoman, at sigurado ako na pati si Senator Ontiveros interesado dyan. Kasi yan na lang ang pag-asa natin na magkaroon ng ating parcelization na totoo. No? I have another question, Madam Chair. It's
Yeah,
to
go
do
ahead.
with
I just want to
bayanihan.
manifest
Yes,
that
please.
they make a comprehensive report on split. Not only what has happened before, but what will happen in the future para guided accordingly tayo, di ba?
Tama.
Considering what happened, ano ba plano? Kailan ba ito matatapos? At ano ang year-to-year plan nila? Para naiintindihan natin yung split. Can we ask you, Sec Bernie Cruz, to make a comprehensive report? Hanggang kailan mo ini-expect matapos yung split? At ano ilang hektarya every year? Ganon. And be realistic, hindi yung maglalagay kayo ng target tapos ang layo-layo nyo sa target, di ba? So the expectations will always equal the target. Can you make that report before we go on plenary? Kasi baka ako tanungin dito, wala akong masagot dito, hindi ko maintindihan ang kaguluhan nyo. di ba? Anyway, go ahead, Senator Amy, with your next question.
Yes, that's right. I had.
We'll do-
Thank you. Sorry, Yusek. I had a provision in Section 4M.
We'll do that, Madam Chair. Thank you po.
Thank you, Yusek. Yes, I have another question po. It's about Section 4M that I included in Bayanihan 2 for the condonation of interest payments of land reform beneficiaries and the restructuring of the said loans without interest component. May nagawa ba tayo rito? And can we be updated on the implementation of this provision? Because we've only had very partial reports from the Land Bank. Perhaps you can give us an overview of what happened.
Yes, Madam Chair, permission to speak?
Yes,
Isa pangalan po.
Yusek, please.
Thank you. First and foremost, Madam Chair, the passage of RA 11494, specifically Section 4M, has been very much applauded, welcomed by the DAR, the CARP implementing agencies, and the Agrarian reform beneficiaries. Is the strongest message of support by Congress to the ARBs and the program. Madam Chair, since your passage of RA 11494, and you have been very instrumental in its passage, the Office of the President issued on October 23, 2020, the implementing guidelines of RA 11494. Section 4M provides for condonation and restructuring of the 30-year payment by the ARBs for their awarded lands, and also the lifting of the payment of the 6% interest per annum, and also that the payments of the annual interest, 6% interest, be credited as part of the principal. As a result of this, Malacanang issued the month after the passage of RA 11494, the implementing guidelines, which features the following. The loans may be restructured for a maximum period of 5 years. Number 2, the interest payments made as of the date of declaration of a state of public health emergency on March 8, 2020 shall be credited prospectively against the outstanding balance, principal payment of the ARBs. And then the condonation of interest penalties and surcharges from this land shall be in conformity with the laws of BSP, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Upon its issuance, the Office of the President designated DAR and Land Bank to formulate the implementing rules and regulations. Our former Secretary John Casaciones signed AO2, series of 2021, which took effect on September 10, 2021. This was the product of the deliberations among 3 agencies or offices, the DAR, Land Bank of the Philippines, and the Department of Finance. We have
Yes,
issued
Yusek, we're
AO2
aware of those
2021.
issuances. Maybe you can submit na lang. Kaya lang, ang hihingin ko, magkano yung nabigyan ng condonation at na-waive na sinasabi nating interest?
Madam,
Ilang beneficiaries?
Oo.
Ilan ang beneficiaries?
Correct. Ilan ang beneficiaries at magkano? Kasi aware naman tayo dun sa EO, IRR, yung AO number 2 kasi syempre tinutukan din natin yan.
yes, Madam Senator.
Pero nakatulong ba talaga yan?
Opo, actually, Madam Senator, from our initial meetings with the Land Bank now, Madam Senator, is drafting the rules on the accounting entries for the ARBs.
Ay, good.
Yes, Madam. And we are now in the final stage of that document. We will be submitting it also to your office to give you an update. But just to illustrate, Madam Senator, based on our
You
initial
don't have an idea of how many benefited and how much? You
Madam
don't have
Sen-
any idea?
I have an idea, Madam Senator. For instance, a total of 26,000 ARBs will be able to completely pay their obligations as a result of Section 4M of RA 6657.
Ilan pa ba yung ARBs na may utang? Ano yung total ngayon? Kung 26,000 will be able to pay completely, ilan ba total? What's the universe of ARBs still with loans?
Madam Chair, if the Land Bank of the Philippines is present, specifically Attorney Vice President Marife Pascua, her office has the details on the number of ARBs which will benefit from Section 4M. If she may be allowed to speak if present, I'm not aware if she is present right now. But we can submit a report, Madam Chair, to address the query of Senator Marcos. Together with Land Bank, I will be preparing that report to address the numbers of beneficiaries based on these actions by the Congress, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yusek, Madam Chair. Siguro matutulungan ako ng ating komite na ituloy itong initial effort ng condonation. Alam naman natin di makakapagbayad ang ating mga magsasaka at yung mga dating beneficiary ng lumang DAR. Kaya't kinakailangan siguro i-waive na yung iba, hindi lamang yung interest, kundi yung iba pang mga loan. Na kung tutuusin, kakarampot na lang pero hindi talaga nila mabayaran at nakalimutan na rin kung sino-sino ang kukolektahan. If I recall correctly, we are collecting only 800 million a year, but the cost on the part of Land Bank alone reach 1.1 billion. That's in addition to the budget of the DAR, that's in addition to all the other efforts of LGUs and related agencies. So kung tutuusin, malaki pa yung gastos natin kaysa sa kinokolekta. So sana matulungan tayo ng komite at ng DAR na talagang i-write off na, kumbaga, ang lahat na ito. At pagbigyan na natin yung mga magsasaka na umaabot na ng 50 anyos. By next year, 50 years na po. This is the longest land reform program on earth. And we have very little to show for it. So, yes, report would be in order, please. And just by way, my next question will simply be with regard to the COA audit observations, para hindi na mahirapan sa plenary ang aking chairwoman. Siguro bigay na lang ninyo itong unliquidated fund transfers na pumapatak ng 1.636 billion. Ang daming unliquidated dito and they were transferred to implementing agencies, NGOs, provincial offices. Carry over ba ito ng mga dating taon or paano ba itong nangyari? Meron rin kayong regional offices
Yes,
na
Madam
may
Senator.
ganun.
Yes, Madam Senator. If I may refer the matter, Madam Senator, for your immediate to address your queries immediately
Yes,
to
please.
Undersecretary Junior Malsi of Finance.
Yes, have we acted on this COA observation regarding unliquidated fund transfers?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, Your Honor. Yes, we
Yes.
confirm that most of those unliquidated transfers, Your Honor, our prior year's audit findings. We
No,
are
they're
very
not. They're still, no, they're not. With all due respect, they're still contained in the 2020 COA report.
Yes, Your Honor, Madam Chair. Albeit there are unliquidated for the present administration, Your Honor. Most of them are carryover or prior year's audit findings
In any
as
case,
far
what
as the
action have
agency
you
is concerned.
taken?
Your Honor.
In any case, what action have you taken with regard to these COA findings? We can't keep carrying them in our books.
Yes, yes, Your Honor. We keep on reminding our field offices and likewise the other implementing agencies for them to liquidate forthright these unliquidated transfers, Your Honor. But nevertheless, we will submit a report to the Honorable Committee, Your Honor, for the
Kasi
perusal
dapat
of.
na-actionan yan. Otherwise, tatanungin yan. Yung isa pa, you have over 100 million not liquidated in 2020 alone. Bakit hindi na-liquidate yan? 2020 na yan.
Ayun nga po, Your Honor, nakikita din po namin yan, Madam Chair, sa aming mga libro. Kaya nga, most of them are foreign assisted project transfers, Your Honor, from different implementing agencies. Yun nga po din ang nakikita namin. That's why po ngayon, nung nag-close yung isang project namin, yung MINSAAD, talagang we gave instructions sa accounting and finance people namin to sit, to sit with our counterparts dito sa foreign assisted projects namin para malaman po namin ang mga problema kung bakit hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa po naliliquidate yan. At may mga aktibidades na po kami.
It's actually contained in the 2020 budget. Are you saying these are the counterpart funds to foreign assisted loans? Is that my understanding?
Those are combinations of the loan proceeds and likewise the contributions of the Philippine government.
So sinasabi mo yan yung counterpart natin?
Hindi daw, combination.
Counterpart natin, bakit tayo nahihirapan mag-liquidate?
Combination na po yan, Madam Chair, ng loan proceeds at saka ng government counterpart. Yun nga po, as far as the agency is concerned, considering that these are fund transfers sa ating mga counterparts sa mga ibang agencies ng government, doon po tayo nahihirapan. Pero as far as the agency is concerned, hindi po kami nagkulang para ma-remind po yung mga ibang agencies na mga implementing government agencies sa mga project na yan na i-liquidate po yung mga
question? May I clarify? Hindi ko maintindihan. Ano ibig mong sabihin? Yung mga unliquidated galing sa mga agencies na hindi part ng DAR? O lahat yan within DAR?
Budget ng DAR.
Kasi sinasabi niya.
If I may be allowed, Your Honor, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Opo, ito po ay mga labas na ahensya po sa DAR, albeit budget po yan ng DAR. Ano po?
Pag-iwalayin mo, pag-explain mo, ilagay mo kung alin yung sa DAR at alin yung sa ibang agency para naintindihan namin, di ba? Kasi sinasabi niya, foreign assisted, merong agencies under than DAR na may unliquidated.
That's right.
Gumawa ka ng report, pag-iwalayin mo, alin yung mga unliquidated ng DAR at unliquidated ng other agencies other than DAR. Huwag mo sasabihin na yun na reason. Tingnan mo kung substantial ba yun o kayo ang substantial, di ba?
Yes, Madam Chair, we will do that.
You make the report kasi gagawin mo reason yung other agencies other than that. Tapos makikita mo 10% yun tapos kayo ang 90%. That's not a reason. Oo. So, liwanagin mo yun. Huwag mong gawin reason yun. Tingnan mo kung substantial yung other agency other than DAR or kayo talaga rin ang at fault. Diba?
Yes, we will do that, Madam Chair. We will render the necessary report.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair and Attorney. Tama po yun, para magkaliwanagan na hindi naman pala atraso ng DAR yun. Pero yung DAR, siya ang red flag ngayon ng COA. So, another item in the COA budget, which will necessarily raise the hackles of our minority leader, is the DAR regional offices has almost 800 million unliquidated fund transfers to PSDBM. Ano ho ba to? At ano yung status ng fund transfer?
Yung mga ano po, yung mga PSDBM, as far as the agency is concerned po, kung may mga transfer man po kami sa PSDBM, ito po yung mga sinasabi natin mga consumables natin, yung mga ordinary office supplies po natin, no, dito sa DAR, no? Pero as far as the finance sector is concerned, apart from that, no, wala po kaming transfer sa PSDBM.
800 million
sorry,
nga
but
eh. Sabi,
sorry, it's
800 million eh. Makikita yan ng ano, lahat ang PSDBM ngayon.
Yes, yes.
Ang PSDBM sa amin dito sa Senado, tulungan naman ninyo kami.
Parang PSDBM at saka PITC. Hat na yan sa Senado. Kasi kayo, dala kayo ng pera doon. Hindi namin maintindihan. Ba't nyo dinadala pera doon? Ano bang kakutsabaan yan? Tigilan nyo yan.
Madam Chair, yun nga po ang sinasabi namin. Ano po? As far as we are in the
800
central
million nga eh. 800 million nakalagay doon sa COA findings eh.
Yes, Madam Chair. Titingnan po namin, Madam Chair, kung ano-ano po yung mga yan. Pero sa pagkakaalam po namin...
Hindi nyo alam, unliquidated fund transfer, di ba kayo nakikiusap sa COA? Kasi may unliquidated fund transfer, PSDBM.
Yes, ma'am. Kaya nga po sinasabi namin as far as...
you take a look at it, you mean to say you're not aware of it?
We are aware of that, Madam Chair. Pero as to the details of what items are those, we are saying...
Ikaw ang finance. Ba't hindi mo malalaman at alam mo na pinag-iinitan na yung PSDBM? Alamin mo kasi paano tayo sasagot dyan?
Yes, Madam Chair, magsasubmit po kami ng report.
Pinag-iinitan na yung PSDBM na yan at saka PITC na yan. Tapos transfer kayo ng transfer dyan. Tapos iko-COA findings nyo. Di ako naman ang mahihirapan dyan. Diyos ko naman, siguradong tatanungin yan. Ba't hindi kayo maghanda dyan? Ba't hindi mo alam yan?
Opo, Madam Chair, magre-render po kami ng report yan.
Transfer sila ng transfer dyan. Katulad nung ng Bureau of Fire Protection. Yung bang paggawa ng fire station itatransfer mo sa PITC? Marunong bang gumawa ng fire station yung PITC? Tapos, wala naman silang ipagpagawa ng fire station nila. Dito nga sa Las Piñas, ako lahat nagpapagawa ng fire station nila. Yung pala, dinadala lang nila sa PITC. Bakit dinadala sa PITC yon? Ano ba meron doon sa PITC na tuwan-tuwa kayo doon at saka dyan sa PSDBM? Bakit hindi nyo gawin ang trabaho nyo by yourself? Ba't nyo dinadala dyan? Tapos yan ang puro question sa Senado. Pati ako mahihirapan pa sumagot dyan sa mga ba't kanyo pinupunta dyan? Ba't ba ang lakas-lakas ng PSDBM na yan at PITC? Hindi ko maintindihan yan
Yes, Madam Chair. Magsasubmit po kami ng report at i-itemize po namin kung ano po yung mga object ng mga tinransfer po sa PSDBM.
Yung object, kasi talagang nakakapagtaka na. Alamin naman ninyo to kasi talagang mamomroblema kami sa plenaryo nito.
Yes, we will do it forthright, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Chair, one last personal question lang to. I have a personal interest in the Land Reform Education Fund.
Buti nga, tinanong mo yan kasi hindi ko nakita yan. PSDBM na yan.
Kasi pag nakikita natin yung mga PSDBM at PITC, nakaka-nervous na
Tapos alam naman nila na talagang pinagtatawanan na yung nagbibigay ng pera doon. Bigay pa rin ng bigay ng pera doon. When you believe TESDA gave na 1 billion to PITC. My goodness. Alam na nila na pinag-iinitan na ayaw pa tumigil. Siguro merong, ewan ko kung ano nakikita nila doon sa PSDBM at saka PITC na mahal nila yun. Ang hirap-hirap humingi ng budget para sa kanila, tapos doon lang pala dadalhin. Tapos hindi naman na-i-implement doon.
Pag hindi na-i-implement yung project para hindi mag-revert yung pera, paspaso lang sa PITC at sa PSDBM Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng bad impression, pinaparking lahat ng perang hindi ini-implement.
Kaso hindi rin naman na-i-implement doon
kaya nga, imagine 8 years yung mga AFP, BFP, Kakainis.
Ako, yung aking project sa composting at saka plastic factory, 2016. 2016, 2021 ngayon, 5 years. Oh.
Ako po. Sige, last but not least na lang, ayusin na po ninyo yan at matutrouble talaga kami ng todo-todo. Ito na lang yung Land Reform Education Fund. Kasi inaasahan ko dati ng mga anak ng ARB, per your submission, 33 lang yung scholarship slot, 66 yung scholarship slot. Ang total amount of 2.357 million will be charged to your fiduciary fund. How many scholars have been able to avail of this since 1971? Ilan na nag-graduate? At balak ba natin palawakin to? Kasi samantalang gumagastos tayo sa split at sa iba't iba pang mga parcelization, distribution, condonation, ano naman ang nangyayari sa mga anak ng matatandang agrarian reform beneficiaries?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam Chair. We confirm po yung sinasabi ni Honorable Senator na meron po kaming 33 na scholars po, ng mga anak po ng mga ating mga ARBs na pinopondohan po ng scholarship fund na yan. Sila po yung mga unang magka-graduate po natin, no, na kumukuha ng agricultural courses.
And it's a matter of consternation to me na napaka-konti naman to. Libo-libo ang pinag-uusapan natin. Bakit 33 at 66 lang ang pinagmamalaki natin?
Yes, Madam Chair, yun lang po ang binigay sa amin kasi dinodraw po namin yan sa DBM. Pag nag-apply na po yung ating mga yung mga beneficiary, yung mga anak ng
Magkano ba budget every year dito?
Nag-a-average po, Madam Chair, ng 2 million lang po ang binibigay sa amin yearly.
Hindi ba dapat lakihan na lang natin yan katulad ng coconut farmers, katulad po nung ginagawa ninyo sa DA? Napakaliit nito. Ito pa naman yung mga poorest of the poor na marginal farmers talaga.
Yes po, Madam Chair. Patuloy po kaming sa pag-expand po ng programang yan at pinoproseso naman po natin lahat ng mga applicant. Talagang ini-encourage po natin maraming mag-apply sa scholarship grant na yan po.
So walang nag-a-apply? O hindi nila alam na may ganyan kayo?
Hindi po, Madam Chair. Marami pong nag-a-apply.
Dami-dami. Libo-libo po yung nag-a-apply. Kaso lahat nabibigo kasi ang liit-liit nga naman ng mga...
Oo nga, parang yung 2 million, parang ang liit-liit naman noon. 2 million. Kami, ang binigay namin sa Coco Levy, 8% of 5 billion is 8% of 400 million sa Coco Levy. 400 million para sa anak ng coconut farmer. Oo. Tapos, yung ibinigay ng ASEF,
yes.
Yun, 10% 10%. Collection of tariff other than rice, 10%. ASEF.
Kaya nga, Madam Chair, baka naman makahanap tayo kahit kapraso kasi kukunti naman to para sa mga beneficiary masyado.
Pwede ba namin i-request Yusek Pagulayan na lakihan nyo to, bawasan nyo yung iba tapos ilagay nyo dito?
Yes.
Kasi
Yes,
masyado
Madam Chair.
namang irrelevant yung 2 million. Kung 2 million lang, pag-aawayan pa yun, di ba?
Ayun na lang, mas maraming unhappy at nabigo kesa sa natuwa at nakatanggap. So, let's try na lang to increase.
Maybe review your budget na may ilipat dito.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair. We will do that.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Yun lang po yung tanong ko. And we will await the submission of the information requested. Thank you po.
Kailan nyo isasubmit? Baka naman mag-plenary na, wala pa. Pagbigay tayo ng deadline para mabasa pa natin at kung may further question tayo, matanong pa natin. Kailan ang target natin? Today is October 20? 20?
Madam Chair.
Kailan? 1 week?
Yes, Madam Chair, we will be submitting it before the end of this month, Madam Chair. That will be October 29, the Friday, Madam Chair, for all our sectors.
October
Yes, Madam
29. Is that agreeable sa'yo, Amy? October
Yes, thank you
29.
very much.
Para may time pa tayong aralan bago mag-plenary,
Exactly.
di ba? Oo.
Pero
Sige,
sana, Yusek, yung tungkol sa condonation sa Bayanihan 2, kasi alam naman ninyo
Opo.
na foregone revenue yan para sa DOS. Sana agahan ninyo at gandahan ninyo yung report para naman makumbinsi natin yung economic managers na ituloy-tuloy na yung condonation natin. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Senator.
okay.
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you po.
So, October 29, Friday.
Yes, Madam Chair. Yes, Madam Chair, we will be submitting our reports to Senator Marcos, Senator Ontiveros, and all reports to your office, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Yun lang.
Thank you po.
Wala namang iba eh. Wala namang iba dito eh. Okay? Sige.
Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.
Permission to proceed, Madam Chair, with the report.
Okay. May additional report ka pa ba? Okay, sige. Go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair. Slide 9 features the configuration of the lot balance by region, just for the information of the Honorable Chair. Next slide, please. Slide. This will show us, Madam Chair, the regional location of the remaining 513,000 hectares land acquisition and distribution balance as of January 2021. The bulk
Pero
of
150 na lang ang walang problema dyan, di ba? 160, yung lahat dyan problematic na.
yes, Madam Senator. Madam
Hindi
Chair.
nyo pa isinasama dito yung sinabi nyo sa akin na may nakuha kayo na 200,000 sa SUC at saka sa mga mga kampo ng soldiers para i-distribute nyo. Tama ba yun?
Yes, Madam Chair.
200,000 hectares. Ba't kayo kumuha ng 200,000 doon? Hindi ba kailangan din ng mga SUCs yun at saka yung mga kampo? Di ba may use din naman sa kanila yon?
Madam Chair, we only acquired under EO 75 those land holdings of the Department of Defense that were given voluntarily by the department. As a matter of fact, Madam Chair, recently the Department of National Defense turned over Camp Kithley in Marawi for EO 75 implementation under BARM.
Can you give me a report of where are those, sabi nyo 200,000 hectares? You
Yes,
give me a
Madam Chair.
report kung nasaan yon?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yung sinabi nyo na nakuha nyo na part ng SUCs at saka kampo para malaman namin saan yun at ilang hektarya bawat lugar. You give me a comprehensive report on that.
Yes,
Taken
Madam Chair.
from camps and SUCs, ha?
Yes, Madam Chair. Opo, camps and SUCs under
Okay.
EO 75.
So, pinaka-problematic dito, Region 6,
That is true, Madam
Region
Chair.
5, and
8. Region 8, Madam Chair.
pero malaki pa yung ayun, yung silang 1, 2, 3, pero malaki rin yung Region 2, di ba?
Yes, Madam Chair. There are, yes, Madam Chair. These are regions 2, 8, 5, and 7.
Kasama ba yan sa written report na binigay mo sa akin?
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam. This is stated, and this included in our PowerPoint and included in this report.
Okay. Okay. Sige.
The next slide will show us the government-owned land. And will be incorporated in our report to you, Madam Chair, that there's a total of 206,000 hectares of GOLs. With an assumption of 1 hectare per ARB, the number of ARBs projected to be covered under this program, under EO 75, is 206,000 ARBs, additional total of 206,000 ARBs. We now proceed to slide number 10.
Yun yung report na hinihingi ko sa inyo eh. Gagawin mo yung report na yun, ha?
Yes, Madam.
Yung
Madam Chair.
200,000 na yun, oo.
Opo, yung breakdown po noon. Opo. Yes, Madam Chair.
Plus yung hectarage na pinakita mo before. Kasi gulong-gulo ako dito sa report nyo eh. Ang kapal-kapal tapos hindi ko naman maintindihan. So bigyan mo rin ako ng report yung problematic, ha?
Yes, madam.
Yung balance
On-
per
on the-
region. Oo. Yung balance per region para tapos yung ano. Ito yung balance per region.
Yes,
Pero
Madam Chair.
alin dito ang problematic? Kasi ang problematic is 350, something like that. 350,000 hectares tapos yung 150. Parang hindi. So I just want to know alin ang problematic at alin ang hindi. Ito. So give me this. Okay,
Yes,
give
Madam
me
Chair.
this
The workable and the
So,
problematic are included
okay,
in this.
sige. Okay. Yung workable, 169, tapos ang problematic is 343. Okay, sige.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Pero idinidak mo sa 513 yung 107 eh. And yet yung problematic mo at saka sinama mo rin sa problematic mo yung farm. Oo, sige. Okay, I know. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Senator. Madam Chair, we now proceed to slide number 11.
Lahat ng pinakikita mong slide sa akin, bigyan mo ako kopya, ha?
Opo.
Baka hindi ko mahanap dito eh. Kapal-kapal nito eh. Gulong-gulo ako dito eh.
Yes, Madam Chair. This slide shows us the issuance of individual titles under the split, and we have discussed this earlier. Just for the record, Madam Chair, this project has an approved cost of 24.62 billion pesos, with 78% being derived from loan proceeds equivalent to 19.24 billion pesos, and 22% in GOP counterpart totaling 5.38 billion pesos. Coverage of the project.
Pero from information from you, ang na-release dito 500 at saka ngayon 4.5, ganun ba? So out of the 24 billion, 5 billion pa lang. Based on your budget. Tama ba
Yes,
yon? Am I right? Last
Yes.
year it's 500 million, tapos this year it's 4.5, di ba? This year.
Yes, Madam Chair, based on the presentation.
So total of 5 billion out of the 24 billion. So it will take you, pag ganyan ng natitira pa 19 billion, it will take you how many years there? 4 years?
3 years, Madam Chair, ang project implementation po. 3 years.
Sigurado ba yon? First 2 years nyo 5 billion lang eh. 24 billion. So natitira sa inyo for 2022 yung 5 billion eh. Ano budget nyo ng 2021? Ngayon, year.
Yes. Madam Chair, may I refer the matter to Undersecretary Split Chairman Bernie Cruz? Yusek Bernie.
Nagsimula kayo 2020, di ba? Bernie?
Yes, Madam Chair. Bernie. Yusek
Bernie.
Yes, madam. 2020 po.
Nagsimula kayo, nag-2020. Magkano budget nyo dito ng 2020? Split.
Hindi ko kabisado yung budget namin. So, ang na-approve
Yung na-release sa'yo ng 2020, 2021, 2022 na itong ina-approve natin, na sabi mo 4.5 billion, di ba?
Yung 2020 po is release is 60M out of the 500. 60M nung April na, almost April na po yun. Sabi ko kanina, February.
Ano nangyari dun sa difference? 500 minus 60, saan napunta yon?
Madam Chair, wino-work out pa po na nila asset audit, yung mga balance namin. Pero may release na po kami na almost
2021, ilan ang budget mo?
may
Yung 2021, ano budget mo?
may 2 billion po sa unprogram. Si Asset Audit po ang mas nakakaalam ng detalye, Madam Chair, kung ano po yung na-release na. Asset audit.
Ibig mo
Pwede
sabihin,
po,
ikaw ang in charge, hindi mo alam. My God, you're the in charge of the project. You should memorize what is happening by heart. Ako in charge ng project. By heart yung memory ko niya. Kadali-dali lang, nearest 100 million lang yan. You don't have to be exact. 2021, magkano binigay na budget sa inyo?
2 billion po sa
Oh. Tapos
yung loan
ngayon,
yung nasa ano po, tapos another 500 po sa GOP.
ano ba yung
Madam Chair.
GOP? So 2.5
Government,
billion.
yung sa government counterpart po. Opo.
Di 2.5 billion noong 2021. Ganun ba? Tama ba yon?
Opo, Madam Chair. Opo.
So 500 million noong 2020, 2.5 billion noong 2021. Tapos ngayon, ang proposed budget nyo is 4.5 billion. Di ba? So,
ang propose po namin, Madam Chair, is yung mas malaki po supposedly kasi, Madam Chair, kailangan namin bumili ng mga equipments and
nakalagay sa budget nyo, 4.5 billion di ba? Di ba diniscuss na natin ang budget nyo ng 2022? Di ba?
Yun lang po, Madam Chair, ang in-approve ng BBM dun sa
4.4 billion 4.4.
Opo, pero iba po sana yung...
Paano naman ka magpapa-approve ng more hindi mo nga nagagasta yung budget mo? Ibig sabihin, alam mo, ang DBM, ganyan yan. Titingnan niya yung history mo kung nagagastos mo yung budget mo. Pag hindi mo nagagastos, bababaan yan. Kaya dapat nagagasto nyo yung budget nyo. Para yung pinasa kong Sugar Industry Development Fund, nagsimula sa 2 billion, ngayon 500 million na lang kasi hindi naman nila ginagasta They failed. So pag hindi mo nagagasta budget mo, binabawasan nila ng binabawasan yan. Para hindi ba yan bawasan, pakita mo na kaya mong gastahin yung budget mo. Otherwise, why will you give a budget that you cannot spend?
Madam Chair, di sa
Ikaw nga tinatanong kita kung ano ang budget mo last year, ngayong year, 2021, di mo nga alam Paano ka hihingi ng malaking budget hindi mo alam ang budget mo sa 2021?
Yung 2021, ang budget naman na-release sa amin, Madam Chair, is 2.5.
Yun ang budget mo. Ano ba budget mo?
So, for 2022 po, 4.4B
ano ba budget mo ng 2021? Ano ba budget mo ng 2021? Sabi mo sa akin, isang 2 at isang 500 million. That's 2.5. Sabi mo, na-release ang 2.5. Di na-release lahat. Tama ba? Yun ang sinasabi mo Nagugulo ako sa iyo
Madam Chair, will submit a comprehensive...
simulan uli natin. 2020, ano budget mo? 500 million. Ang na-release sa'yo, 60 million. Okay. 2021, ano budget mo?
Ang budget po is a total na 2.5 plus yung continuing po nung natira doon sa wino-work out pa rin po namin.
So na-release lahat yung 2.5?
Hindi pa po entire 2.5 ang na-release, Madam Chair.
Ano na-release?
Sandali lang po, Madam Chair. Pinicheck ko lang yung aking...
So sa 2022, 4.4 billion, di ba? Ipagpalagay na nating marirelease di 7.4 billion ng 2022. Ang total project cost is 24. So may natitira pa na 14, 17, 16.6 billion, di ba? Ilan taon mong gagastahin yung 16.6 billion? Paano mo i-divide yung 16.6 billion?
Madam Chair, ang bulk po nga sana ng budget namin na hinihingi is for the first year. Kasi po bibili kami ng mga equipment at saka mga vehicles.
First year mo Tapos na yung first year mo, that's water under the bridge. 2021 ka na eh. 2020 ang first year mo eh. Di bilhin mo sa 2021 na you have a 2.5 billion budget plus yung natira ng 2020, which is 460. So almost 3 billion budget in 2021. But palagi mo sinasabi na kailangan malaki budget. That's water under the bridge. 2021 na tayo. You started in 2020. Now we're talking of your 4.4 billion budget in 2022 to make a total of 7.4 billion as of 2022. Eh sabi mo, 24 billion ang budget nito, di may natitira pa sa yung 16.6 billion. Kasi gusto nila malaman ano ba plano sa split. So, how will you divide this 16.6 billion in the coming years? 2023, 2024?
Madam Chair, ang gagawin po namin, we'll make do kung ano po yung budget na yon to purchase everything that we need and to push yung implementation ng split within the next year.
How do you foresee yung split? Kailan matatapos with this kind of what you have done as of 2021, and then yung budget nyo ng 2022, may natatira pa kayong 16.6 billion. Kailan kayo matatapos ng split?
We are still, Madam Chair, we are still pursuing na matapos kami within the period allotted. So,
Ano ba yung
October
period
2022
allotted?
is 4 years po ang implementation ng split.
So, parang out na yung 2020, di ba? Parang out na yung 2020. When you talk of 4 years, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. So, ang target nyo is December 2024. Tama ba ako? Kasi out na yung 2020 kasi may 500 million kayong budget na 60 million na gasta. That's irrelevant. So, we start 2021. Di ba? So if you say that you have to finish it by 2020 in 4 years, you're looking at 2024. Di ba? Tama yun?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Ikaw, nanonood ka. Ano ba tingin mo? Kasi nalilito na si Yusek Bernie. Ikaw.
Yes.
Hindi ba?
Yes.
Parang hindi na bilang yung 2020 kasi wala naman nangyari noong 2020, di ba? So we talk of 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Di ba? Kung sinasabi nyo na 4 years. Di ba? Oo.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So,
The
if
past
because Yusek Bernie is supposed to make a report on the split, on what has happened and what will be happening. So siguro you will be looking at 2024, di ba? Ang ending ng split, or if you think na hindi nyo pa kaya ng 2024, di ba? Then 2025.
Yes, Madam
I'm
Chair.
just clarifying kasi if you will make a plan, dapat alam mo yung nangyari na at ano mangyayari in the future, di ba? And magkano
Madam
yung budget at magkano yung number of hectarage na gagawin mo, di ba? Okay, sige. O, continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Continue.
Yes, Madam Chair. We now proceed to LAD cost parameters, slide number 12. The cost to slide number 12. The cost to distribute a land holding under the land and acquisition and distribution is a summation of the peso value per activity or process involved that starts from claim folder documentation and preparation, land survey, land valuation, EP-CLOA registration, and distribution, until the installation of ARB in his or her awarded land. Roughly in 2022, it would cost around 9,870 pesos per hectare to acquire and distribute a land holding. Next slide, please. This next slide shows the other cost parameters per activity or process under the Land Tenure Security Program for the information and reference of your office, Madam Chair. Our
How
next,
much per hectare yung land, other cost? Ano yan? Land tenure, What did you say? Land tenure.
land
The other
tenure and
slide. Oh, land tenure. Security of land tenure.
yes, Madam Chair.
Security of
The land tenure
land
security
tenure.
program. Yes.
Oh, magkano ang ano niyan? 1,048.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
1,048 per hectare.
Opo. Then we have for post-land distribution, which involves the documentation, LAD, and LADIS preparation with the LRA and installation of uninstalled ARVs. That's 1,000. That's a total of per hectare 6,301. For those requiring survey, no surveys, 1,767. For LADIS preparation, 239 pesos per ARV. For installation, that's 1,500 pesos per ARV.
Ano yung post-land distribution? Ano ibig sabihin yan?
These are the activities, Madam Chair, that will try to address some legal or technical problems after we have proceeded with the coverage of the land. Usually for, these are the documented, not yet paid, and the documented, not yet distributed. These are technical problems, Madam Chair, in relation to surveying. Then LADIS is the titling aspect. Then installation is the very act of placing the ARB in the possession of the awarded land. The third component is with regard to the cost per
Split.
CLOA. Yes, Madam Chair.
So magkano ang per hectare?
Sa split, Madam Chair, it's subdivision survey. That is about 4,800 pesos per CLOA.
Yung total. Iba-iba ba yan?
Yes, Madam.
O-
Different activities.
O may per hectare yan?
Yes, Madam Chair. The two.
So yung budget nyo enough. 1.3 million hectares. Times, kasi 24 billion di ba? Sabi
Yes,
niyo
Madam
sa
Chair.
akin 1.3 million hectares. O magkano per hectare yan kung 24 billion ang cost? So,
This will come to around 6,300 pesos per hectare for subdivision and the documentation. Then there is the validation that's based on title, not hectareage. So perhaps we can get a confirmation from ASEC Joey Sumatra.
Pag dinivide mo yung 24 billion divided by 1.3 million, di ba ang i-split 1.3 million hectares?
Yes, Madam Chair, 1.3 million
Magkano
hectares.
lumalabas yun? Kung i-compute mo nga 24 billion divided by 1.3 million.
ASEC auditor is
1.3
doing computation.
million is 10 is 13 million, 130 million, 1.3 billion by 10 times 13 billion. Parang 20,000 per hectare. Tama ba yun? 20,000 per hectare ba? Parang ganun. A little less than 20,000 per hectare.
Yes, Madam Chair, more or less. Opo, more or less 20,000 pesos
Per hectare, di ba?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
That will appear that the budget is sufficient based on the coverage of the project.
Okay. So we go ahead.
Yes, Madam
Kasi
Chair.
magkano nakalagay dyan? Parang dyan, ano lang yan 4,800 at 1,500, 5,600,
6,300.
8,000 lang yan pero ang budget nyo 20,000 per hectare di ba?
Yes,
More
Madam
than
Chair.
sufficient. More than sufficient.
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair. Plus contingencies. Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may proceed, Madam Chair, on another sec. The next is with regard to agrarian justice delivery, Madam Chair. And when we speak of agrarian justice delivery, next slide, please. Agrarian Justice Delivery, Madam Chair, is the resolution of adjudication cases, the resolution of agrarian law implementation cases. We launched the Zero Backlog Project, Madam Chair, and we are pleased to report, Madam Chair, that with the help of our regional offices, DAR adjudication boards, and the central office legal sector, including the secretary, we were able to wipe out all the backlog by 2020. Of course, Madam Chair, this is only with regard to cases pending before the DAR. Some of these cases are being elevated to the Office of the President with regard to Ali cases, agrarian law implementation cases, to the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court for our DAR Adjudication Board resolutions. Just the same, Madam Chair, by 2020, you can see here the wiping out of the backlog from 2017. Next slide, please.
Ano ba yung green? At ano yung blue?
Yes. Please return to... Ma'am, the blue represents the backlog. The green represents the portion that has been resolved as a result of the...
So, maliit na lang. Almost zero.
Yes, Madam Chair. Of course, Madam Chair, it will never approach zero because cases are being filed every day.
I know. Okay.
Next slide, please. Just to give you an idea, Madam Chair, with regard to agrarian law implementation cases, our case resolution rate as of this year is 99.7%, Madam Chair. For agrarian law implementation cases decided by regional directors appealed to the Secretary of DAR, and we were able to resolve it at 99.7%. Next slide, please. This is from 1988 to 2021. For adjudication, Madam Chair, we are pleased to report that our accomplishment rate is 99.6% for DAR adjudication from 1988 to 2021. Next slide, please. Ali cases for this year, Madam Chair. For this year, as early as June, second half of the year, we already had an accomplishment rate of 83%, leaving us with a 17% balance from June to December. We can wipe this out, Madam Chair, by the end of December. And we are wiping it out as we speak. This is for agrarian law implementation cases for this year, as of June. Next slide, please. For adjudication cases, Madam Chair, as of June 2021, we were able to resolve already 75% of cases, leaving us with a 25% balance as of June. We are wiping this out as we speak, Madam Chair, for adjudication all over the country. Next slide, please. That is with regard to agrarian justice delivery, Madam Chair. Also, we have given free legal assistance to a total of 110,000 ARBs all over the country, Madam Chair, for 2021 alone. That is we are giving free legal assistance to all ARBs. The next slide is on Agrarian Reform Beneficiaries Development and Sustainability Program. Page 6. ARBDSP, as a poverty reduction program, one of the goals of CARP is to transform the agrarian reform areas into a vibrant and self-reliant communities that shall serve as engines of rural agro-industrialization. Thus, the bigger challenge lies in sustaining the gains in land redistribution. The goal is translated into three bottom-line objectives. 1, improve the productivity of awarded lands. 2, increase household incomes. And 3, promote the well-being of the ARBs, agrarian reform beneficiaries, and their households. To achieve these objectives, the DAR implements the ARBDSP. This program ensures that a systematic and synchronized delivery of essential support services and facilities are provided to ARBs and help them maximize the productivity of distributed lands as well as harness the potentials of rural communities. Next slide, please. Among the provisions of the Carper Law is the launching of agrarian reform communities, or ARCs, in the countryside where there are CARP-covered areas. The ARC is DAR's strategy in delivering support services to agrarian reform beneficiaries as center in propelling development in agrarian reform areas. From 1993 to June 30, 2021, we have a total of 2,232 agrarian reform communities launched by DAR covering 16 regions. This slide shows the distribution of the approved agrarian reform communities nationwide, the highest of which are in Region 3 with 208 ARCs, Region 10 with 176 ARCs, and Region 8 with 172 ARCs. Starting in 2010, the DAR has adopted the ARC Cluster Development Strategy, which focuses in providing agri-business development assistance to ARB organizations. A total of 167 ARC clusters were launched as of June 2021, of which 84 were launched during the Duterte administration. Next slide, please. The provision of support services to our ARBs are being coursed through their organizations or the ARB organizations. These ARBOs are given assistance for them to have the ability to manage and utilize the interventions that will be extended to them by the department. The assistance being provided includes capacity development, facilitating access to needed services to its members, enterprise development, market linkaging and engagement, agri-extension with farm input support, as well as support facilities and farm machinery equipment implements. The provision of this assistance is given to them until they reach the desired maturity level where their organization can be
Can
self-sustaining.
you give me a breakdown of your budget for those assistants?
Yes, Madam Chair. May I
Kasi
request Yusek Emily Padilla to address the query of Madam Chair? Yusek Emily.
Madam Chair, if I may, Yusek Emily is not around. She's not feeling well. May I refer the matter to our SSO team, Director Bals and Director Ronald Garesa, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I request Director Baltasar and Director Ahmed to address the query of Madam Chair. Director Balts. The budget with regard to the assistance, the actual budgetary allocation that we are providing for assistance to the ARB organizations with interventions, the budget for intervention actions. Director Balts. Madam Chair, may this representation also commit to submit the details of this report on the budget for the intervention actions given to ARB organizations?
ano yung in-enumerate mong intervention action? Sabi mo sa akin. Ano
Opo.
yung in-enumerate mo? Can you
Ito po.
repeat that?
Yes, Madam
Ano yung
Chair.
mga intervention nyo? Sabi mo mechanization. One of them, I remember mechanization. What else? Yung in-enumerate mo.
Yes, Madam Chair. The assistance being provided includes capacity development,
So
facilitating.
that's, ang capacity development ba, training yon?
It includes training, yes, Madam Chair.
Oh, tapos, what else?
And then number 2 is facilitating access to needed services to its members. Facilitating
Like what?
access.
To needed services. Anong services yun?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Huwag niyong i-vague. Huwag niyong
Yes,
i-vague.
Madam Chair.
Kasi gusto ko malaman ano ba talaga yung tinutulong. Nakita ko training kasi tapos access to what services?
Yes, Madam Chair. May I call on the representative of the Support Services Office to address the query of Madam Chair? Director Baltasar.
Sir, Yusek Louie,
Please introduce yourself.
si Asek Mirabel po.
Asek Milabel Cristobal, Madam Chair. Kindly address the query of Madam Senator, please, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Kasi bigay
Asek
kayo
Milabel.
bigay ng figure yung tinutulungan nyo. Ano yung tinutulong nyo?
Ma'am, just for the breakdown,
Asek Milabel, you have several devices. Nag-e-echo po ang salita nila.
i-echo daw ako. Sige, kaya niyo po.
Ano tinutulong niyo sa mga agrarian reform beneficiary organization? Ano tinutulong niyo?
Ma'am, the breakdown of our assistance and services.
Mm.
Number one, Senator, we have supervision and management for effective delivery of support services. And the second, we have social infrastructure building, the components of which are the ARC, yung Agrarian Reform Communities namin, and Agrarian Reform Community Cluster Launching and Cluster Development Planning. Then, we have
Puro ano yan puro ano ano tawag doon? Puro what do you call that?
Throughput.
Ano lang yan puro salita yan Ano nga ba tinutulong nyo? Yung specific na tinutulong nyo sa kanila kasi yung sinasabi nyo puro swift generalization yan Ano tinutulong nyo talaga? Sabihin nyo sa akin. Huwag nyo akong sabihin na ini-empower. Paano nyo ini-empower? Yung tulong mismo, ano binibigay nyo? Hindi nyo masabi kung ano tulong binibigay nyo
Ma'am, we give marketing assistance for under our enterprise development and economic support. We give marketing assistance to our arbors. And then we give
paano
credit
ano yung
and
marketing
microfinance.
assistance? Ano yung marketing assistance?
Ma'am, we link our arbors to institutional markets. That's why we link up with the different, like for instance, yung mga set up ng DTI, and then we have part of through this we also have our EPAP program where we link up
Marketing
with
assistance
institutional
with
buyers,
DTI,
the BGMP, yung mga
farm
hospitals
machinery
in the
equipment.
regions.
Binabasa ko na Oo.
Yes,
Teka, sandali. Loans. Nakalagay dito. Mechanization. Magkano budget niyo sa mechanization?
Ma'am, for our mechanization, it's input support, and then our budget there would be 301,012,000.
301 million. Okay.
Yes, that's which is for
yung
it's 41% of our total budget, ma'am.
301 million. Give me a list of binigyan nyo ng farm machinery this year with your 301 million budget. I want a list of the arbos you gave.
Yes,
Lista
ma'am.
mo.
We will submit
At ano binigay nyo? Ngayon, ito.
Office to compile a list of the areas where we distributed
Extension
our farm machinery
services and farm input. Magkano budget nyo dyan?
Ma'am, yun nga, it's under the farm machinery service, it's under our CRSTS.
Yung farm machinery nyo, 301 million. Itong agriculture extension services and farm input support. Magkano budget mo dito? Kasama ba yan sa 301 million pesos?
Ma'am, yung agri-extension services and farm input support is part of that 301 million.
Sige. So, lahat yan.
For agri-extension services, it's 113,812,000. And then for our farm machinery and equipment, it's 105,050,000. And then for
total, teka muna, Iha. 301 million total. Mechanization,
yes,
magkano? Magkano mechanization?
It's 185,050
185 million.
185,050,000.
Training and import, input support, magkano?
Input support po is 113,812,000.
114 million. Yung access to, ano ba, nakalagay dito? Loans.
Access facilitation
Magkano
po
loans?
and enhancement is 2,150,000.
Mm. Tapos,
So that's for a
ito,
total
loans.
of 301
Loans.
million, 12,000.
Yung loans.
Sa loans
Saan
po,
galing ang loans nyo? Is this galing sa
ma'am,
bangko
access to
o
credit
galing
namin,
sa
we
inyo?
have loans from Land Bank.
Di
And
naman
then we
inyo.
have our program, the CAPIDD program, which is also managed by Land Bank. Co-managed with
Magkano
DAR.
yon? Magkano yon? Loans.
Estimated.
Loans managed by Land Bank. Magkano binibigay nyo sa Land Bank?
Ito yung release na natin. Loans releases. Ma'am, that's for as of June of this year.
Magkano budget nyo dyan?
Budget.
Loans managed by Land Bank coming from you. That means you're giving money to Land Bank to give loans to ARBs. Tama ba yung intindi ko? Tama ba yon? Or galing yan sa Land Bank, wala naman kayong binigay sa Land Bank?
CAPIBD program, that's DAR funds that's given to Land Bank that Land Bank manages.
O magkano yon?
Mabot ng releases natin ng 400. So next year, magkano? Next year.
This year, magkano yon?
This year, ma'am, for mga releases na, if we can go for releases.
Ano, you have a budget. Parang kami, RCEP, 1 billion to Land Bank and DBP for the year. O kayo, ano budget nyo for the year? Ay bibigay nyo sa Land Bank para ipautang sa Land Reform Beneficiary. Huwag nyo sabihin sa akin kung ilan ang napautang ng Land Bank. Magkano binigay nyo sa Land Bank?
3 years. 2020, 2020.
Magkano?
Senator, for our two programs, we have 90 million, but it's for the period of 2021 to 2024. No? And then 50 million for the CAPIBD for 2021 to 2023, which is from this year to 23, it's 3 years.
90 million from 2021 to 2024.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
4
That's for our
years.
ERI's credit program.
O,
And then for
divided by
CAPIBD,
4 yon kasi 4 years, di ba? O, 90 divided by 4. Ano yun? 22 million. Tama ba yun? 22 million, 22.5 million per year. O, tapos yung 20, ano pa yung sinasabi mo isa? 2020, ano yung isa mo sinabi?
CAPIBD, which is 50 million for the period 2021 to 2023.
50 million, 2021 to 2023. So that's 1, 2, 3 divided by 3, the 15, 16, 16.5 million. Ganun ba? Per year. Tama ba yun?
Yes, ma'am.
Yun ang total na loan na binigay nyo. So every year, you give something like 40 million. 22.5 plus 16.5. So 38. Approximately 40 million a year for loans. Tama ba yun?
And that's about if you're going to put it on a yearly basis, that's the amount that Land Bank will have.
So, bali ang tinulong nyo sa farmer, sa ARBOs, is 301 million plus 40 million sa loan every year. It's 341 million. Tama ba yun? Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. We are able to
341
release all
million.
those amounts especially for credit, because they have to apply for it, and Land Bank actually.
Mahinayang kami kung magbigay kami sa credit.
Yes.
ano, 1 billion sa rice farmer. So, ibig sabihin, yun ang lagi kong pinopoint out na ang DAR, talagang distribution ng majority of the budget. Minimal yung binibigay nilang tulong para ma-develop yung mga ARBs, 'di ba? Kasi out of the budget of 12 billion, ito yung itinulong nyo. 341 million a year. Di ba? Yun lang ang ipino-point out ko na ang talagang DAR is distribution. To distribute, kasi lahat ng budget nyo doon pumupunta. Yung tulong nyo sa mga farmer, minimal. Di ba? Out of a budget, ito ba lang ang tulong nyo sa farmer? Yusek Pagaligan. Ito lang ang tulong. Ito lang ang tulong.
Yes.
341 million a year out of a budget of 12 billion, di ba? So talagang ang DAR is for distribution. It's not to help the farmers be better, di ba? Ang help nyo is bigyan lang sila ng lupa. That's it. Minimal yung yung program para tulungan sila, 'di ba? Tama ba ang ko?
Yes. Madam Senator, Madam Chair, that is how it appears on the annual budget for this year. That
Yeah. And every year, 'di ba? Ganun palagi. Talagang kayo for distribution. Pero developmental, hindi kayo 'yon. Kasi kung ang budget mo ay 12 billion, bibigay mo for developmental is 341 million. 341 million out of 12 billion is, 4%?
Yes,
And
Madam.
10% is 1.2 eh. You're
Yes, Madam Chair,
giving
4%.
4%. Okay. Minimal, di ba? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair. For our next slide, this is slide number 25. As regards the provision of training, we have recorded a total of 7,498,211 ARBs trained nationwide in terms of service count, attending various programs, training programs from
Magkano budget nyo dyan sa training?
2021.
Magkano budget nyo dyan sa training?
Previous. Slide 20. May I refer the matter back to Assistant Secretary Milabel Cristobal? The budget for training, ASEC Milabel, please. ASEC Milabel.
Ma'am, for the budget for training under our social infrastructure building is 118,145, which is 16% of our budget.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. I just want to know. Okay.
Okay. Going back to the slide, Madam Chair, secondary to land development, farmers are also engaged in business enterprises. The development of 5,516 food and non-food products involving generic products and their variants. Majority of these products were already launched in the commercial market. Meanwhile, a total of 1,735 ARB organizations have been managing agri and non-agri enterprises, providing microfinance.
Yung development of product development, ano yan? Ibang budget ba yan? Magkano yan? Magkano ang budget sa product development?
Ma'am, very minimal.
Magkano?
Budget namin only for research, 15,000.
15,000?
Yes, 20,000.
15,000?
Ma'am, no, it's 20, sorry. 20.
Bakit nyo pa nilalagay dyan? Yung 20,000 ba nilalagay pa ba dyan? Tanggalin nyo na yan. promotion nyo lang yan. Yung 20,000 budget ba? Ano ba yun?
Yun na lang.
Tanggalin mo na yan. Parang hindi nyo ginagawa yan kasi 20,000 lang ang budget nyo. O yan, microfinance.
Dagdagan nyo na lang.
Tanggalin nyo na yan. Hindi nyo ginagawa yan. O yung microfinance provider, iba yan doon sa binibigay nyo sa land bank? O kasali yan doon?
Madam, permission to speak, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Please introduce yourself. to the
You
chair.
said, I would like to clarify that the 20,000 is a unit cost.
Please
for each
introduce
product,
yourself.
Madam Chair.
Ano yan?
Unit cost po yan, Madam Chair, ng product dev po.
Oh, magkano? Ang tinatanong ko sa inyo, total budget nyo, sabi nyo 20,000. Tinatanong ko lang kung ano binibigay nyo para sa product development. Sabi nyo 20,000, tapos sasabihin nyo sa akin ngayon unit cost. Magkano ang budget nyo for the year sa product development? Yearly budget nyo sa product development. If you are really into product development, ano yearly budget nyo dyan? Hindi unit cost. Oh. Walang budget. I just want, kasi pinipresent nyo rin, I just want to know yung extent na itinutulong nyo sa land reform beneficiary other than facilitating that they be given the land. Oo. So, I want to understand ano yung developmental work nyo sa kanila. So, tinatanong ko lang, ililista mo yung product development, magkano budget mo a year for product development? Oh. Magkano? Kasi kung sasabihin mo 20,000, wag nyo na ilista yun. Wala yun. Magkano budget nyo?
Asik Vilabel, Director Baltasar.
Di ba may budget yan? Kasi nilalagay nyo na program.
As we check, for 197 as our target with 20,000 as unit cost, it's 3.9 million. More or less.
So, this one, the microfinance provider, is this different from the one you're giving to land bank? Where do you give this microfinance budget and what is your budget?
Ma'am, this is our budget to train our ARBOs to be to manage once they apply for a loan, and they are the ones that provide the credit to their members. So this is our budget for the training.
So, training din yan.
Basic, yes, ma'am.
Kasama nung 118 million nyo na trainings. Na ibig nyo sabihin, financial yan. Financial
Yes, ma'am.
literacy yan. Di kasama doon sa training. Hindi yan different. Diba? That is part of the training, and one of your program is to develop their financial ability. Diba? Kaya microfinance provider. Diba?
Yes, ma'am. But we have different trainings that we provide.
Kaya nga, so this is
one
not
for
anymore a separate budget. This is part of training. Di ba? Then ilagay nyo sa training kung anong klaseng training ang ginagawa nyo sa ARBs nyo. Kasi maraming training, like kami, sa farm school namin, maraming training. May nag-aaral ng livestock, may nag-aaral ng financial literacy, may nag-aaral ng crops, different crops, may nag-aaral ng aquaculture, ganon. Pero they are all under training, di ba? Iba-iba lang training. Okay. Sige. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead na. I understand na. I just want to understand what are you doing for the farmers. Go ahead. Okay. Okay, go ahead. This is in rice production, di ba? 258,000.
60 members. That is correct, Madam Chair. Of these farmers,
258,000 members are in
Yes,
rice
Madam Chair.
production. Okay, go ahead.
Of these farmers, 110,300 are ARBs. The highest concentration is in Region 3, with a total of 229 ARB organizations. Next is Region 1, with 114 ARB organizations, with a total
Hindi
membership
ka
of 22,000.
gulat-gulat yon kasi sila rin ang pinakamalaking largest producer of rice.
Yes.
Region 3. Oo. And Region 1 also because of Pangasinan. And then,
Madam
of
Chair.
course, Iloilo. What is Region 6? Hindi ka gulat-gulat yon. Kasi they
16,000.
are the largest producer of rice in the Philippines. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yan ang sa rice.
Opo. Next, we go to major crops. Next slide, please. With regard to those involved in major crops, based on the data gathered by DAR, the IRBOs engaged in major crops production nationwide are the following: 1,300 ARBs in rice, 146 ARBs organizations in corn farming, and 79 ARB organizations in sugarcane farming. Again, Region 3 has the largest number of rice-producing ARBOs. Next is Region 1, then Region 12, and Caraga Region. On corn production, Regions 12, 10, and 5 have the highest number of ARB organizations engaged in planting corn. On the other hand, only Regions 6 and 7.
5?
Yes, Madam Chair.
5
Regions
and...
5, 10, and 12.
Pero Region 2 yan eh. Kaya lang, siguro hindi sila ARBs.
Opo, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, sugarcane.
Sugarcane, on the other, Region 6 and Region 7 registered the highest number of ARB organizations which are into sugarcane production.
Yung Region 6 talaga, Negros Occidental, di ba?
Yes.
Yan ang sugar.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Next slide is on the average annual yield of major crops in agrarian reform communities. In 2019, the average crop yield for irrigated palay and corn in agrarian reform communities registered 4.7 metric tons per hectare and 4.78 metric tons per hectare, respectively. These are 0.73 metric tons per hectare and 1.69 metric ton per hectare higher than the national average of 3.97 metric tons per hectares and 3.09 metric tons per hectare, respectively. For all other crops, the average yield in 2019 are lower than the national averages. Next slide. This slide shows some of the products developed by our ARB organizations that include processed food products from their local produce as well as non-food products that have been the source of additional income of the ARBs. Next slide.
Okay.
Madam Chair, we now proceed to
Bayanihan.
the Bayanihan 2+1 Act. The unprecedented devastating effect of COVID-19 pandemic prompted the passage of R11469 or Bayanihan Law 1. To address the impact of this pandemic in the lives of the ARBs, the DAR launched during the pandemic the Passover. Our Bold Move for the deliverance of our farmers from the COVID-19 pandemic, or the Our Bold Project. Next slide, please. The DAR started implementing the Our Bold Project in May 2020. It covers the provision of support to ARB organizations as frontliners for food security, farm productivity assistance to ARBs that includes seeds and farm tools, 3, livelihood support for women in crisis situations, and 4, provision of food and non-food
Kakain na
items.
tayo.
As of June 2021, the DAR, through the Arbold project, provided food and non-food packs to 125,000 ARBs, farm productivity assistance to 66,617 ARBs, and livelihood support for 1,200 women in crisis situation. Slide 32. At the start of the declaration of the ECQ, the DAR took the initiative to help our ARBs nationwide. We want them to feel that government is working and ready to give them support. Part of the package of our COVID-related services delivered was the issuance of ARB IDs to 239,331 ARBs to ascertain their identity, This idea was also used in availing support from other entities like the local government units and other national agencies like the DSWD, DA, and DOLE. We ensured that the ARBs who were already recipients of social amelioration programs or other government agencies are no longer included in the list of ARBOLD project beneficiaries. The IATF has passed Resolution 19 on April 3, 2020, authorizing the DAR to issue quarantine accreditation passes to ARBs to continue supplying agricultural products to critical areas affected by ECQ. A total of 693 ARBOs were issued with passes, which enabled them to pass through checkpoints and deliver their produce to intended markets. Through our humble assistance, the ARBs, through their ARBO organizations, were able to continuously sell their produce. A total of 1,632 organizations generated total gross sales of 1.4 billion pesos. Compliance to National Budget Circular Number 580, which directed the discontinuance of 10% of the national agency's unobligated release allotments in 2020 to generate funding to support the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. We committed a total of 418 million pesos out of our 2020 current appropriations at 382 million pesos and 36 million pesos from our 2019 continuing appropriations. Compliance to National Budget Circular Number 586. Next slide, please. Based on Administrative Order 1, number 41, series of 2021, issued by the Office of the President to tap agency savings in the form of unobligated 2020 continuing allotments to further support the government's ongoing programs related to the COVID-19 pandemic. The DAR has committed a total of 41 million pesos for this purpose. Next slide. The status of fund utilization of fiscal year 2020 received allotment as of December 31, 2020 is presented in this slide. The DAR's adjusted 2020 allotment amounted to 7.977 billion pesos, or 83% of our approved budget. Our 2020 budget per GAA amounts to 9.526 billion pesos. However, there are allocations that were not yet released amounting to 1.1 billion pesos, allocated for landowners' compensation, for the project split, and for coverage of government-owned lands under EO 75. These allocations are subject to special budget request. There are pending requests for the release of the landowners' compensation and GOP counterpart requirement of split with the DBM. As mentioned earlier, there was also mandatory 10% reduction in our 2020 unobligated allotments for MOOE and capital outlays as per National Budget Circular 580 to generate funds for expenditures related to COVID-19 pandemic. On the other hand, there are additional allotment released from DBM such as personnel services, to cover salary deficiencies, retirement and life insurance premium, and terminal leave benefits of our retirees. Our total obligation incurred at year-end reached 7.431 billion pesos, or 93% of adjusted allotment, while disbursement reached 6.8 billion pesos, or 92% of the obligated allotment. There remains a total of 546 million pesos unobligated allotment from PS at 7.39 million pesos, MOOE at 537.63 million pesos, and capital outlays 0.223 million pesos. Highest fund utilization was incurred for operations at 4.8 billion pesos in terms of obligation, which is 91% of allotment, and 4.367 billion pesos disbursement, or 91% of the incurred obligation for 2020. Under operations, the Land Tenure Security Program was able to obligate 2.614 billion pesos, or 96% of its released allotment, while its disbursement reached 2.493 billion pesos, or 95% of obligated funds. Next slide, please. The appropriation of the DAR for FY 2021. In the General Appropriations Act amounts, the appropriation of the DAR for FY 2021 in the GAA amounts to 8.86 billion pesos. There was additional release from pension and gratuity fund to cover the terminal leave benefits of our optional retirees. Hence, the adjustment allotment is 8.907 billion pesos. The DAR's 2021 status of fund utilization as of June 2021 is shown in this slide. This report covers PS, MOOE, and capital outlays based on the adjusted allotment by Program Activity Project or PAP. The total obligation of DAR for the first semester of 2021 reached 3.776 billion pesos or 42%, while disbursement reached 3.359 billion pesos or 89%. The unobligated allotment amounts to 5.131 billion pesos. Under Fund 101, 3.4 billion pesos was obligated from the total allotment of 7.8 billion pesos or 44% utilization rate. Highest obligation was incurred in implementing our three major programs under operations, 2.243 billion pesos, of which 1.28 billion pesos or 57% was utilized for land tenure security program. Disbursement of Fund 101 as of June 2021 reached 3.045 billion pesos or 89% of incurred obligations. 2.007 billion was dispersed for operations with 1.207 billion pesos or 60% utilized for land tenure security program. As of the end of first semester 2021, total Fund 101 unobligated current allotment amounts to 4.392 billion pesos. Bulk of this available fund is for LTSP at 1.63 billion pesos and for Agrarian Reform Beneficiaries Development and Sustainability Program at 809 million pesos. As regards our budget for foreign assistance projects under Fund 102, 109 million pesos was obligated out of the 629 million current allotment. Disbursement, on the other hand, reached 78 million. 520 million unobligated allotment remains available for utilization, which is expected to be fully utilized by year-end when all procurement requirements have been completed. Unprogrammed appropriation for loan proceeds, which was not part of our budget in the GAA. The release of SARO, worth 2 billion pesos, was received on 23 April 2021, while the NCA corresponding to World Bank's cash release of 806 million pesos was received by DAR in June 2021. The status of utilization for this project's available allocation will be reported in the second semester of 2021. Next slide, please. Details of FY 2022 proposed budget per NEP. At this point, Your Honors, I will present the details of our proposed FY 2022 budget. With this budget, we intend to continue the acquisition and distribution of our remaining lot balance and efficiently deliver the needed services to our agrarian reform beneficiaries under the new normal. We shall also continue to provide swift and efficient legal services to affected clients of the agrarian reform program.
Can
Next
you
slide.
give us okay, go ahead.
The recommended DAR
How
budget.
many pages ba to? How many pages ba to?
19, Madam Chair. We are
Saan
now
ako
on page
iho?
13. Yes, Madam Chair.
Ilan?
6 pages to go, Madam Chair.
Okay, go ahead. 6 pages to go. Wag mo na i-detalye kasi kaya naman namin basahin eh. Wag mo
Yes,
nang
Madam Chair.
basahin isa-isa and then bigyan mo na lang kami ng hard copy. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the FY 2020 DAR budget, NEP. at 12.838 billion, a 45 increase from our previous GAA. Next slide, please. We are showing here, Madam Chair, the original proposed DAR budget for FY 2022. The grand total, including general administration, support to operations, our operations and total programs and projects, plus automatic appropriation and special purpose fund, this will include a grand total for PS, MOE, and CO of 32 billion pesos. This was the original proposal for the DAR budget.
Huwag nyo na ibigay yan original, bigay nyo na lang yung NEP. Hindi naman kaya yan,
Yes,
32
madam.
billion. Bakit nyo binibigay pa yan? Kaya ako nalilito,
We will-
tinitingnan ko binigay nyo sa akin proposed budget 32. Ang alam ko binigay sa inyo 12. Di present nyo na lang yung 12 because yun ang kaya ng gobyerno. Bakit pa kaya lalo ako nalito dyan sa report nyo 32. 12 lang yung
Yes, Madam Chair. Yes, Madam Chair. Next slide, please.
Yan, nalito na ako sa pagbasa ng inyong presentation kasi alam ko 12 lang naging 32. Ano ba yung 32? Wala namang budget na 32. Sus,
Yes, Madam Chair. Note, quite
tanggalin
very
nyo
well
na
noted,
yung
Madam Chair.
32.
We will
12 ang
delete this,
pinag-uusapin
Madam Chair.
natin. Kaya ako nalito kaya hiningi ko doon sa finance mo, ano ba budget nyo? Kasi nabasa ko 32. Ano yung 32? Wala naman tayong pinag-uusapan 32. We're talking of 12.
And yes, Madam Chair. Ito na po yun, ma'am. Ito na po yung budget namin, actual, 12.83 838 billion pesos. Andiyan na po yung land tenure security, agrarian justice delivery, and support services through the agrarian reform beneficiaries development. 12.83. Next slide, please. This is the breakdown of the MOE budget per organization. First, we have land tenure security program that is 18% at 0.093. Fund 102 is 4.018 at 88%.
Yan yung pinakamalaki. Yan ang nagpa-increase ng budget nyo, yung split, di ba?
Yes, madam.
Okay, go ahead.
Next slide, please. Under agrarian justice delivery, maliit lang po ito, 6%.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Next slide,
Next
please.
slide.
Slide 44, capital outlays. Slide 44, I'm sorry. This is, Madam Chair, sorry. This is with regard naman sa Converge at saka yung Fund 101 po namin. Next slide, please. Dito po yung capital outlays. Sa LTSP, 98%. Sa support ARB, DSP, 2%.
Okay.
Next slide, please. We are showing you, Madam Chair, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program per NEP. Ayan po. So for DAR, we have a total of 12.883.
Okay.
And then other CARP implementing agencies, we have DNR at 218.6, LRA at 151.52, NIA at 803, DTI at 121, coming to a total of 1,294.338. Total for CARP is 14 billion.
Can you describe me those coming from DNR, LRA, NIA, and DTI? Can you report on that? Ano ibibigay nila sa CARP beneficiary?
Yes, Madam Chair. If we
Oh,
can ask...
I just want to know that yung breakdown. No, you just make a report.
Yes, ma'am.
A
Yes,
written
Madam
report.
Chair.
Ano yung bibigay ng DNR amounting to 118 million? Ano yung bibigay ng LRA na 151? Ano yung bibigay ng NIA na 803? At yung DTI na 121?
Yes, Madam
Kasi yung
Chair.
NIA, yung pinakamalaki at saka yung DNR, nasa akin din ang budget. I want
Yes,
to
Madam
find
Chair.
it there. Oo, sige. Just make a report on that. Okay?
Yes, Madam Chair. It will be included for our Friday submission.
Okay. What
Next
else?
slide, please.
No more? Okay,
Next
thank
slide,
you.
please. Yan na po, Madam Chair. Thank you very much for your time. And
Okay.
thank you, Madam Chair,
Amy,
for
do you
your
have
support.
any more question? No more? Amy? 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 Senator Amy? Hindi tayo nadidinig eh. Senator Amy? Hindi tayo nadidinig eh. So if Senator Amy has no more concern, we dismiss you. Just give me the report, ha? Yung mga tinanhiningi ko report. Okay, sige.
Yes,
Thank you
Madam Chair.
very much. Okay.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair. God bless you,
Maraming
Madam Chair.
salamat. Good afternoon. Okay.
Good afternoon po sa lahat. Permission to leave, Madam Chair.